What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. How you guys doing? If you guys are brand new here, man, you guys don't know what we do, don't worry, I'm gonna break it down for you guys. We talk about the most scarce and creepiest videos on the net, on the web, that's gonna make us question everything. Seekers, sit back. Let's do what we do best, Seekers. Say it with me, y'all. Yeah, I know what we do. Seek the truth.
Kanye West might be trying to tell us the sky is actually a projection.
Why? This was at his concert. I think he's definitely trying to tell the public something good. He is literally projecting the sky. Stay weird.
I think I found a glitch in the matrix. My TV's LED lights are like dying, but the reflection of my TV in the mirror, the LED lights are perfectly fine. You can barely see it because I'm in the dark, but this is the TV. It's a rainstorm. You can't see it, but when I turn and look at the mirror, you can see every detail of it. Let me turn the camera around.
I saw it.
TV's on, rainstorm, mirror. Watch, I'll turn the flash off.
Is that like a reflection?
It's just so crazy, what? The Matrix.
But yes, the government, the United States government, since 1945, before Roswell, there was a crash in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and we have retained and stored in various states of storage, whether it be cryogenic or deep freeze, or in the 40s, which would be a formaldehyde. We have and still have to this date alien extraterrestrial bodies at around 10 to 12 facilities around the country, and I can name them if you'd like, but take it to the bank. The United States government has and does have these bodies, has examined them, and as my bizarre 3-minute film that I've been researching has shown, has interrogated for long-term purposes and long-term use actual living extraterrestrial entities. And this hasn't been one person. My colleague, Dr. Stephen Greer, has over 700 witnesses that have testified to the Legacy program, and about 200 witnesses that have gone on record, testimonial, signed affidavits, where they have actually touched, saw, recovered, autopsied, interrogated extraterrestrial living beings. This phenomenon is real, and I told you weeks ago, Anita, the world and the people of my hometown, people of Chicago, need to prepare for the shock that's coming.
My wife and
Is that why they're releasing Disclosure Day this year, man? They just want to get the public, us, man, more used to the fact that aliens are among us, bro. Said, man, it's called predictive programming, bro. They put it in our media, man. I guess so we can kind of get used to it. That's crazy, boy. But the fact that you said you had over 700 witnesses, they can't all be like fake, right? So there has to be some legit truth to what he's saying.
I just got a letter from United Healthcare telling us that they're denying coverage for our twin stay in the NICU. And if you thought that was inhumane, you're right. But listen to this. They didn't address it to me or my wife, like human adults. They addressed the letter to the baby.
Dear baby girl twin, hey.
Sadly, I guess it is appropriate that our preemie baby's first experience in the world is having its healthcare coverage denied. I guess my only other question for United Healthcare is that if the baby was still in the womb, would you have sent the letter to my wife and had her eat it in order to get it to the baby?
Video.
Why did they send the... What's up with these health companies, man? You know, man, you're trying to make money at the end of the day, bro. But like you said, you could have addressed a letter to the parents, like adults. The fact that it started over there, it said, "Dear baby girl twin A," bro. And these healthcare companies, bro, like I said, man, they only care about the damn money, bro. What happened just to helping the people, man? Crazy.
I will now pay you
you $22,000 a year to host an AI data center at your house. They partnered with a startup called Span, which builds this box above that looks like an AC unit. But inside this box are 16 NVIDIA Blackwell GPUs and Dell servers. And these can either sit here in the lawn or even bolt onto the side of your house. And these units tap your unused electricity capacity to be used for AI compute. And in exchange, you get free electricity, free internet, and no share payments that can be worth up to $22,000 a year. Let me know in the comments if this is something you'd put at your house, and follow me for more AI news and tools.
Nope.
Another earth-shaking boom equivalent to 300 tons of TNT just rattled the eastern United States, but this time over New England, barely 24 hours after South Carolina was rocked by a similar mysterious boom.
Hundreds of reports came in about that thunderous boom.
The NASA reportedly concluded was not a meteor, by the way. But around 2 p.m. today, people across Massachusetts, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and beyond heard what sounded like a massive explosion. Windows rattled, pets panicked, and people flooded agencies with reports. But this time, NASA says the likely cause was roughly a 3-foot-wide meteor fragmenting about 40 miles above northeast Massachusetts, releasing energy estimated at 300 tons of TNT. NOAA satellite lightning data also detected a signal consistent with the meteor around the same time. Though I will say that the NextRad map has been suspiciously frozen since yesterday.
Really unable to conduct a more thorough analysis of the situation because I don't trust these agencies.
But I digress. For now. So in just one day, 2 powerful aerial booms that sounded nearly identical shook the East Coast. One appears to be a meteor, the other remains still unexplained. That's what makes this all so bizarre.
This guy right behind me is being stalked by the Men in Black. This after yesterday he went mega viral, tens of millions of views, so much virality to the point where CNN and other news stations had to cover his coverage of these UFOs in Brazil. We'll take a look at that footage in just 1 second. Also, a whole lot of random people, like researchers, are coming into his yard. This alleged Men in Black, it's all these black cars, a blackout tent, and everything else. You can't even see inside of it. 24/7, he's being stalked since then. Now let's get to that footage. So right here is some of that footage, and to me it really does seem legit. Also, speaking about the Men in Black, it's crazy. Remember the whole Miami Mall incident that happened?
Yeah.
By the way, he's putting this all over social media. Miami Mall thing happened, right? And then that kid who had it all on footage got a visit from these random people who were demanding him to delete that footage. And here's some more. And you remember Las Vegas? I believe it was like some kind of crash, and people had these weird creatures, like these super tall creatures that were walking through their yard. And then, like, it was on police radios and all this stuff, and the footage was actually dissected afterwards and turned out to be real. But those people got paid a visit as well. And this, of course, is happening with all these giant explosions they're calling meteors. South Carolina, Boston, Ohio, California, they're happening every single day, and every time they're like, oh, it's just a meteor. If this guy goes missing, we know what's up. Because the intelligence agencies will let no one get in their way. 3-letter and 5-letter. Let me know what you think below.
I think those freaking sonic booms are connected to, I guess, what that man saw in Brazil. Those Chris Reeves, right, man? They were going freaking mega viral, bro. You saw them all over freaking TikTok, your scroll feed page, man. And what we saw, bro, that definitely was looking like a UFO, man, or something, bro. The fact that he was getting watched proves, man, he might have caught something he wasn't supposed to, man. That's actually scary, bro.
Flesh-eating worms that feed on warm-blooded animals have been detected in the US for the first time since 1966. The worm was detected in a 3-week-old calf, with the larvae found in its umbilical area, in the town La Praya in Texas, around 30 miles from the southern US-Mexico border. The US Department of Agriculture said the New World screwworm are parasitic flies who lay eggs in open wounds and mucous membranes on animals. When these eggs hatch, hundreds of larvae with sharp mouths burrow through living flesh and eventually kill their hosts if left untreated. And their hosts could be pets, and people. But the risk to humans is low, as cases are rare. Cattle ranchers in the US feel an outbreak could shrink herds, reduce beef production, and drive prices higher for consumers. For the past year, the worms have been increasing in Central America and Mexico. The worms spread via their infested animals, so authorities are establishing a 12.4-mile detection and quarantine zone. But they've been preparing for a possible outbreak for a while, saying their efforts have delayed the parasite's arrival by a year. However, Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller said that the USDA moved too slowly and relied solely on a partial solution, which takes years to implement.
Your body recreates itself based on the thoughts you think. You create a new liver every 6 weeks, a new skin once a month, and in less than a year, you replace your entire body down to the last atom. And your thoughts are the architect in the recreation process. So if you're dealing with a health issue, or simply want to optimize your health and well-being, repeat this affirmation every morning, afternoon, and night. My body is in perfect harmony. Every cell vibrates with radiant health, strength, and vitality. Save this post as a reminder and send it to someone who needs it. The more you say it, the more you program the vibration of health and vitality into your subconscious mind, which then programs it right into the cells of your body. Try it for at least 90 days and start to witness the transformation happen.
I'm gonna try that, Seekers, bro. It's power behind positive thinking, as we saw, man. Just gotta put positive energy out to the world, and it's gonna come back to you, bro. I truly believe that. Seekers, that's all start our 90-day journey. Marking today, bro.
Video is going viral right now when a woman got a new license plate in Indiana and noticed that it says 5G on it. So license plates now have 5G for wireless tracking. This is from Gina Marie. I'll show you her profile here. So this is who broke the story. Gina Marie Colvin Hill. And it's all over Twitter. It's going viral all over the place. People can't believe it. So I did some digging. Smart license plates. It's a smart license plate equipped with cellular and GPS technology, including 4G and 5G connectivity, are an emerging vehicle technology designed to replace traditional metal plates. Wow. How did I not see this coming? They're replacing everything and making it smart and AI, but I never thought they would go after a license plate. Now, of course, look how efficient this is going to be and convenient. That's what it's all about. Automated registration. You just do it on your phone. Boom, bang, bing. It can help people stop stolen cars. Is that why they're doing it, though? Is that why they're doing it? Because, hold on, there's an interesting dichotomy here. Criminals need the police. Police need the criminals. Because of the police, criminals have a job to get goods and things that are not allowed into places and around that aren't supposed to be there. And police's job is to stop that. If there were no criminals, we would not need police. So, if the actual goal here is to have zero crime, then a lot of people are going to be out of business, out of a job. That's not what this is about. Of course, they will be able to track stolen vehicles, and they already have used flock cameras to do this. But I'm thinking what you're thinking, which is that this is meant to be used to track, monitor, and surveil us, just like in the movie Minority Report, which I was watching last night briefly. It's shocking what that freaking movie was talking about, man. I don't know that this is about safety and security more than it's about surveillance and control. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below and follow for more.
You know what's it about. What the hell is Pete doing?
What's going on over there? What is going on over there? Because it seems like they're having a good old time. What, Mr. Palm Beach Pete? I mean, they're smiling, so everything must be okay, right? Now, I don't know if this is his family or something, but I'm just wondering what is going on over there, bro. Hey, everybody, it's Palm Beach Pete, and I'm just me being me. That's all he's doing. He's just being him, bro. Because I'm just wondering who these people are. I mean, I don't know who they are. I'm just asking, what is going on over there? Besides them just having some fun. Just playing around, guys. Entertainment purposes only. Let Palm Beach Pete be Palm Beach Pete. It's a phenomenon. He's having a good time. Let him live his best life. I don't know. Let me know. I'm out.
If this video is real, then it could prove one of the most terrifying possibilities imaginable. What if the sky we see every day isn't actually real? The crack in the footage looks completely out of place, like it doesn't belong in our world at all. It doesn't resemble clouds, and it doesn't match any known weather phenomenon. Instead, it looks as if a giant oil painting has been sliced open down the middle. Behind the crack, there is no sunlight, no clouds, only a darkness that cannot be explained. The strangest part is how different it looks from the rest of the sky around it. It's almost as if someone accidentally damaged the giant curtain covering our world. Many people believe it's just an optical illusion. Others have a far more disturbing theory. What if the world we live in was created? What if the sky isn't really a sky, but a shell designed to hide the truth? If that's the case, then what exactly is behind that crack? And why do videos like this seem to appear for a brief moment before disappearing from public attention? Some people say it's a camera glitch. Others claim it's a rare atmospheric phenomenon. But to this day, nobody has been able to explain why it looks so much like a torn canvas. And even more importantly, if that really is a crack, then who or what is watching us from the other side?
Camera prove to you right now that you're not your physical body. Use your common sense. Raise your hand. Just raise your hand. Did your hand raise itself, or did you give the command to the body to raise the hand? No. Yes, answer the question. Answer the question. Okay, your brain gave a signal, right? So now, okay, your brain is an official entity, correct? Which means that the source from which the thought came would not be the body, because the body is the puppet. So do you? No. Answer the question, man. No question. Now I'm running over you. Listen, you are not the body. First of all, you are not the body. You saying it's pseudo, but you're not spiritually vibrating high enough to even transmit this knowledge. So first of all, second of all, calm down. Third of all, you are not your body. So therefore, your spirit echo body has a different food source than your physical body. If you fuse your spirit body or your echo body with your physical body, you can eat directly from the source. So the soles of your hand, the soles of your feet, the palms of your hand, these transmute energy. These are your 11 chakras.
People found in the Jeffrey Epstein files the predictions for every NBA Finals up to 2026. Oh, yeah. If this is true, this is the NBA champions from 2019 to 2026. Okay. So obviously 2019 was Raptors, 2020 Lakers, it was Bucks, Warriors, Nuggets, Celtics. Last year was OKC. Okay. Who is it again this year? 2026. This year, 2026. According to the Jeffrey Epstein files, the winner of the NBA Finals will be the New York Knicks. No,
what?
No, if that goes true, bing bong. Have you seen the memes? Like, New York Knicks have, and then they float the whole thing.
The only thing, bro, that is trippy because, bro, the Knicks are up 2-0 against the freaking Spurs right now. And nobody freaking believed that was going to happen, man. If the Knicks win, bro, that list is confirmed, man. Damn, bro. I got to watch it closely, man. If the Knicks win, bro, I'm saying the NBA is rigged, bro. I'm sorry.
About human-animal hybrids and humanoids. What? They're creating human-animal hybrids that are a new creature never here on Earth. It's alien. So the aliens are already here.
I'm so baffled.
And the Earth is seen as like an egg yolk to give the propulsion power for this new thing that's going to be born.
We're saying so many things. Listen, I love you to death. But you say
I bet you
so
$10
many
million humanoids are real.
I believe they are.
They have spiders that produce body armor, spider guts. I believe
Joe. Yes.
They have human-animal hybrids.
Okay.
They've got giant human tissue farms.
I believe it's true.
I mean, I'm worried about human hybrids. I mean, this has been going on for years.
How many people would have to be involved for that to be real?
That's all there is, dude. It's a cult, man.
What would they try to do?
They're making their move right now.
Who's they?
The globalist programmers who believe with the off-world entities they're in communication with that they're going to be given the operation to upload and be in that larger kind of Borg cube system.
Okay,
if they sell the country out.
You got to hit the brakes. You're legitimately freaking me the fuck out.
They only put soulless people in charge who are compartmentalized, nobody else knows, who will carry this out.
I'm not saying it's impossible.
That's what I'm telling you is this is hiding in plain view. And that's why it's so crazy. Imagine if you knew all this. You're trying to tell people.
What's interesting is how many people resist the idea that it's possible for someone to try to control everybody.
That's it right there. I don't think you're a bad guy. You're trying to survive for you and your family and do good.
Okay, but
my family, your family, none of us are going to make it. There's a post-human era coming. The breakaway civilization. The deal's been made.
This is inevitable. They're going to do it anyway.
Okay. What are they celebrating? Wake up there. I don't think that's something they should be celebrating.
Wisdom
for the open-hearted, wisdom for the people of God. Don't fall into Satan's traps. Wake up.
Yo, please tell me y'all seen this dumbass Kool-Aid trend. You seen it? You tried it? Who the hell takes Kool-Aid and mix it with pineapples? And then when a person try it, they be like, ooh, fire. Your hand's shaking because you about to have a diabetic stroke. I be trying to find out, how do shit like this go viral? It must be some type of agenda. This video is about to get a little dark and a little deep. Stay with me. You know how people get high blood pressure, diabetes? They say, that shit run in my family. Nah, that shit don't run in your family. Bad choices run in your family. So y'all really think this shit is healthy? Let me break this down. First, I want to say Kool-Aid have 30 grams of sugar without adding sugar. If you don't know what 30 grams of sugar look like, this is what it look like. So you drinking all of this sugar in one shot. When you pick it up, it say artificial flavor. That's all I need to see. Artificial flavor, and I'm cool. You can have it. When we was young, we should drink this shit because we was on survival mode. Now we have grown-ass people making this a trending topic. Let's get into the serious topics. Kool-Aid, red 40, yellow 5, yellow 6, blue 3. By the way, they banned red 3 in the States. So why the hell they ain't banning the rest of these food colors? So this shit can mess with our gut, our thyroid, it can cause stress. And this shit went viral. I mean, we can make this really simple. If you want some real fruit, just buy the pineapple. If you want some fruit punch, Kool-Aid, just get some tropical fruit. Watermelon flavor, just buy the watermelon. But once again, when we get sick, we say, that shit run in my family. No, 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 no. Don't blame it on the family. Blame it on you wanting to go viral for the wrong reasons. Sometimes the internet can be the dumbest shit ever because we really live in a monkey see, monkey do work, or I should say copy and paste. If you do it, I'ma do it.
See, because if any of you guys tried those freaking pineapples, man, I've seen those trending all over, man, but I haven't tried it myself because, like I said, that's just way too much sugar, bro. Bro. Like you said, monkey see, monkey do, man. One person started that trend, and a whole bunch of people just jumped on it, man. When I was looking at those freaking pineapples, I said, this that like can't be healthy for you, right? Way too much sugar, bro. It's gonna get into your body, man. The fact that, like you said, they had all those food colors, artificial, colors and stuff like that, it's not good. It affects way too much parts of your body. I'm good off that.
Engineers tried to solve the problem of excess water and eventually created one of the largest artificial waterfalls in the world. In Guizhou province, water flows down from the mountains all year round. During construction of a bridge across the Huajiang Canyon, engineers discovered powerful underground flows of karst waters. This could have become a serious problem, but instead of simply diverting the water, they decided to use it differently. A huge reservoir was built high in the mountains. When it overflows, the water isn't diverted through ordinary pipes. It's discharged directly from the bridge, and the water wall stretches approximately 300 meters in width. It's almost as if an entire Empire State Building, frozen horizontally above the canyon, were falling from the sky simultaneously. What was once an engineering problem has turned into one of the most surreal man-made spectacles. Today, there is not only a bridge here, but also observation decks, glass walkways, and tourist attractions. Chinese engineering once again shows its level, transforming problems into art and the forces of nature into a mesmerizing spectacle.
That would have cut a Yeti in 4K, bro.
In India right now due to the deadly heat doesn't mean it won't affect you. I made this video months ago detailing how the deadly heat in India will inevitably affect your country. And spoiler alert, I was right again. You don't care about global warming, you don't care about climate change, okay, that's fine. But then I don't want to hear you complain about the mass migration of people from places like Asia, from places like India, when their homes are no longer habitable because of the heat, because of climate change. And you want to guess what? They will have the full backing of international law because they are quite frankly refugees at that point. Their homes are no longer habitable. What do you expect these people to do? They will have to move or die. I, alongside many economists, warned you all about this about 3 months ago, and whether you like it or not, what do you expect these people to do? They quite literally will have to move or die. What do you expect them to pick when it comes to saving their families? So again, if you don't care about climate change or global warming in India, I promise you, you will soon.
As I watch these clips, man, I always be informed, bro. I saw some clips. I'm about to say India heat wave. What's going on, like in that part of the world, bro? Like she said, man, if you're presented with a choice, flee or live, but you gotta pick, obviously flee. So that just, man, tells you, man, we need to stay in tune, man, and stop blaming it on everything else, bro. This year's weather is freaking insane, bro. We had the snowstorms, then we got this heat wave in India. What's going on, man?
James Franco. Me. Really, James Franco. I'm here at my house. I'm not promoting anything, okay? I'm making this account because, some serious going on, okay? And, look, here. This is real, okay? I'm real. It's me, not AI, not anything, okay? Could, AI James do this? No. Not right this. This is me. Okay. This is weird. Okay. Those who know. Alright. Some serious stuff going on.
That James Franco video was very strange. And I know I can't be the only one out there that finds that to be a little bizarre. What serious stuff is going on or going down? This is very strange stuff indeed. If this is even the real James Franco. Maybe it could be AI. I don't know. It's very bizarre how he has another video out and it says there's nobody listening, as you see right there, and he looks like he is scared of something. So what is really going on here, you all? What is really happening? What is really going down? What is so serious that he had to make that video? What do you think?
Donald Trump has just had an insane phone call with Netanyahu. So according to a new report by Axios, Trump directly said to Netanyahu, quote, "You're effing crazy. You'd be in prison if it weren't for me. I'm saving your ass. Everybody hates you now. Everybody hates Israel because of this." And that's according to an unnamed U.S. official who spoke with Axios. They say that Trump is furious with Israel's continued escalation of military action in Lebanon, which is undermining the U.S. peace negotiations with Iran. In fact, just on Monday, Iran threatened to abandon the negotiations with the U.S. because of it. So, what do you guys think? Is this just one argument and they'll move on? Or does this signal a serious turning point with the U.S. and Israel relationship?
You want to know how deep I've gone down rabbit holes? I'm convinced that both of the world wars were really just to erase the old world. And that there was an entire narrative scripted around who the bad guys were, who the allies are, and it was really meant to just destroy all of these beautiful cities. They took out all of the bells, if you guys haven't looked into why there would be bells in public spaces, and the healing properties and the harmonious properties that these churches and all the architecture was built in. Okay, it's sacred geometry, and it's not unrealistic that they started 2 world wars and put, at the time, our best men in every single country lined up across each other because they wanted to take out the most brave and quote-unquote prestigious men for every country, knowing that all of them would want to go to war.
That's a scary thought to actually think about, man. What was the world like before all that madness happened? Changed it forever.
You can tell something was there before the fade.
Who are noticing what's going on. In this picture, I can see her soul there, and in this picture, I cannot. In this picture, I can see Ariana Grande's soul there. In this picture, not so much. In this picture with Jamie Foxx, same story. You literally can't tell me that it isn't super noticeable when
when somebody is connected to their soul and when it's missing and it's absent. Like, honest to goodness, just look at that. Look at his eyes. You can see that there's a soul sitting in the driver's seat controlling him. And here, whew, that is scary, genuinely. Like, you can literally see his presence behind his eyes, his essence, his soul. Here, not so much. It seems empty and like he's a shell of himself. Like, you couldn't convince me in a million years that this fucking behavior is normal. The eyes are the window to the soul.
Certain people get that type of level of fame, bro. It changes them forever, man. Some celebrities like clones. Heard that day before, plenty of times. The pictures all matching up though, bro. You can't deny it, man.
Life. This hidden camera captures a moment this woman puts bleach inside her husband's coffee maker multiple times a day. This is Robbie Johnson, and he began setting up cameras all around his house when he started to notice that his coffee was tasting a little off. He wasn't really expecting to catch anything, but when he looked back at the footage, he was shocked. His wife Melody is seen pouring a substance inside his coffee maker every single day before he brewed the coffee. Robbie got testing strips, and each time it tested positive for chlorine. At this time, Robbie and Melody were in the process of a divorce, but they were still living together. Robbie pretended to drink his coffee every morning and continued to gather evidence so that he can go to police. But when he showed police all this footage, they said that they couldn't see exactly what Melody was pouring into the coffee maker, so he couldn't prove it. So Robbie had to set up even more cameras around the house with different angles so that he can prove that Melody was, in fact, poisoning him. Melody was charged with attempted murder, and I bet this guy will never let anyone else make him a coffee again.
That is not something that's terribly new, but have you heard about the woman that is haunting AI pictures? Sees the face, and nobody can explain why she keeps showing up in AI images. If you look at her, she's not really general. I mean, there are specific characteristics even that are consistent. Again, nobody knows which prompts are generating this woman. Nobody knows why her face continues to appear in different models. So this has opened up one of my favorite questions about the idea that AI pictures can be haunted. And don't forget, if things like this are of interest to you, make sure to go check out the podcast. Katy Perry is coming under fire because her upcoming album, it features Dr. Luke. But a lot of people don't know that Katy Perry is allegedly trapped by Dr. Luke. Apparently, there is a lot going on behind the scenes that many people are not aware of. Little history here. Katy Perry was dropped by Columbia Records back in 2006, 2007. She signed with Capitol Records in 2007 at the age of 22. Part of that deal was that she was going to sign a 6-album production deal with Dr. Luke. Dr. Luke ended up doing her first 2 albums. He did One of the Boys, he did Teenage Dream, and they were massively successful albums, and he began to work on Prism. So Prism came out, and it was extremely successful, and allegedly it's around this time that Luke's services as a producer were bought out by Sony, but he included a clause that he was still going to be able to honor and finish out his 6-album deal with Katy Perry. And it was also around this time that Kesha came forward with the accusations against Dr. Luke. Then came this leak. Allegedly, this is a text exchange between Kesha and Lady Gaga around the time of the accusations, which also alleged that Dr. Luke had assaulted Katy Perry and she was stuck with him. So then we got the release of Witness, which did not feature Dr. Luke at all. And people sort of thought that she would never work with him again, but she had only fulfilled 3 of the 6 contracted albums. Legal predicament here is that Katy Perry signed her deal at 22 and she is now 39, and if she wants to continue having a career in music, she is legally bound to finish out the remaining 3 albums.
Is that why, like I said, I don't remember, didn't we hear like a couple of months ago how like she showed Katy Perry, she showed her old catalog or something for like a ridiculous amount of money. But now I guess she's trying to get back into the music scene, but she's stuck with that, I guess, producer, man. She has to make 3 more with him. See, because, man, it goes to show you gotta watch. When you sign a contract, you gotta read the fine print, because you never know who you're gonna get stuck with. Gotta be fully prepared, man, for those consequences. That's crazy that she's stuck with that producer, Luke. Where's the sky? Headache.
I'm the bad guy.
Damn. Warhol. Whew. Won't want to get bit by one of those. That's common
You're not
knowledge.
gonna believe what this guy accidentally caught on camera. Watch carefully.
Going so fast. You can barely see.
Did y'all see that? It's a pale humanoid figure lurking in the background. Roman countered like Slender Man or something. Let me know what you guys think this is in the comments below. So you
I need out the guys' theories.
believed to be human remains near a neighborhood, and your first thought is to take those human remains to Goodwill. That's what happened in Anderson, South Carolina yesterday, June the 23rd, 2024. It is reported that an individual stumbled across what is believed to be human remains in a gravel lot located in or near a high-end subdivision called Grayland in Anderson, South Carolina. And instead of calling law enforcement, this individual takes those human remains to Goodwill, who then calls law enforcement.
Why?
Law enforcement does believe these remains to be human. They are searching a wooded area that is said to be in a new development in this subdivision, Grayland, in Anderson, South Carolina. They have also called in an anthropologist from Spartanburg County who is assisting in the case, and the remains have been sent to the FBI for DNA identification. As more information becomes available, I'll share it here, so go ahead and hit the follow button if you are not already following. There are 6 different people listed in NamUs who are missing from the Anderson, South Carolina area. I'm not going to list those individuals here because I don't want it to look like I'm speculating that these remains could be one of those individuals. You can do your own research on that.
Nasty.
That's insane. You can find some human remains and their first thought is to take it to Goodwill, man. That goes to show you how people, they don't be using their minds sometimes. See something like that, man, you just call the police, bro. You don't take it in a Goodwill. What the hell are they supposed to do with it? They're just gonna be just as confused and disgusted by as you. People down there, you serious?
Fast food facts you didn't want to know. There's most likely other people's poop in your fast food drinks.
What?
Scientists tested samples from Burger King, McDonald's, and KFC and discovered that most of the drinks had traces of fecal coli in them. That's poop particles. Although regulation says that your drink should have 0% of poop, samples from different KFCs and Burger Kings had significant amounts. That poses a serious threat to diners. Fountain machines were tested too, and they had about 11% of E. coli. Some restaurants rarely clean their ice machines, and some restaurant workers that handle your ice don't wash their hands. Hope you have fun drinking poop. Like this video if you want a part 2.
I ain't drinking no more from all those restaurants listed. Fast food. Make your drink at home.
In 2014, a man named Martin took this picture of his daughter in Japan. It wasn't until later that he discovered an eerie thing about this photo. When the photo was taken, there was no man standing behind his daughter, yet it appears that there is. Again, if you look closely, you can see a man standing directly behind his daughter. People believe that this is a ghost of a samurai or a World War II soldier. He just happened to catch it on camera while trying to take this cute and innocent photo of his daughter. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Do you believe that this is real?
First games you should never play. Part 14, the Dry Bones game. This game could get you anything you can dream of, but you're putting yourself at risk for losing your mind, being killed, or worse. To prepare, close all the doors and windows in your house, and then turn off all the lights. Begin at exactly 12:01. Go into your bathroom and look into the mirror. Make sure everything is silent. If you hear anything, he is already there. Think of something you want. This will be your prize if you win. Strike a match and wait for it to burn out on its own. If it lasts more than 15 seconds, you may continue. Lie down on the floor and recite these words. I am aware of your presence and I welcome you into my home. Go into the biggest room in your house and wait. To know that the game is officially started, you will hear a moan. If you hear anything else, abort. Once you hear this, run to your hiding spot and stay there, but remain completely silent. Remain in this place until 3 a.m. Once this time comes, go back to the biggest room in your house and say thank you for playing, but you must leave now. You are no longer welcome. If you did this right, you will hear another groan signifying that you won, and your prize will be at the door.
What's good? Today we continue our series going over the most evil children to ever exist. And the ones I got for you today are, these kids need help.
Okay.
First up on the list, we have Robert Thompson and John Venables. These two kids right here, wow. In the winter of 1993, these two kids became the youngest convicted murderers in the history of England. On February 12, 1993, these two young boys abducted young James Bulger, a 2-year-old, at a shopping mall. And here's the picture of them walking away with the 2-year-old. They then took the boy to a railroad track where they would beat him senseless with an iron bar. The last one we're going to be talking about today is Lionel Tate. On July 28th, 1999, Lionel Tate's mother was babysitting a 6-year-old girl. Lionel's mother eventually went upstairs to go watch TV and left the young girl downstairs with Lionel, and this would prove to be a fatal mistake. Lionel continuously stepped on the girl's head and then went upstairs and tried to say it was a wrestling accident.
Nah. They that young? This goes to show you even back then, man, how the world was a dark place.
Creepy people who were caught on camera PT.1. Creepiest home.
You saw how the way they was at? Like, nah, that's why they were where they surround us, because that guy was asking some weird questions. Just trying to lurk around in the background. Can't even go out and have a good time no more without, you always have to be constantly aware, because weirdos out like that exist.
Camera footage PT.3.
Ooh. Isn't it no rain no more? Damn. Scary. How the hell he get in the house? That's the real question we need to be
The
asking.
new horror movie Smile 2 just came out. And if you remember in 2022, the movie Smile went so viral that literally everyone was talking about it. So I really hope that the sequel will be good because we've been waiting. But I haven't seen the trailer yet, so let's watch it together.
Alright.
Hello?
You back.
Sky! What? No, 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 get away from me! What? What is it? Get away from me!
Louis?
Oh crap. Damn.
Something really crazy is happening to me. I keep seeing this face everywhere.
You witnessed a death. Now it's latched onto you.
Stop smiling at me!
Oh, I bet he back. Oh, damn.
That's a pretty cool shirt you got. Want me to sign it?
This is one of the most disgusting and evil cases I've ever heard. In February of 2013 in the Bronx, New York, a man was walking his dog at around 4 a.m. when his dog began to sniff around and led the man to a pile of trash bags that were left on the curb. As the man got closer, he realized that there was an awful smell coming from the bags that were sitting on the curb. So he decided to investigate, and lo and behold, he discovered that the bags were full of dismembered body parts. The man then decided to call the police, and after further investigation, the police found multiple different bags full of more dismembered body parts scattered across the city. It would then be discovered that the dismembered body parts would belong to a 45-year-old at-home caregiver by the name of Tanya Bird. Her body parts were placed in multiple heavy-duty trash bags containing everything from her torso to her shoulders to even her head. But guys, if only that was the worst part. You see, police then moved on to contact Tanya's son, Basim McLean, in which he responded that he believed that his mom's abusive ex-boyfriend was the one behind the killing of his mother. But little did the police know that that was not the case. As part of the investigation, police decided to go through Basim McLean's phone to see if he had any connection with his mom's murder. And lo and behold, they discovered a picture of McLean smiling in a selfie while holding his mom's decapitated head in his left hand. Yes, this is the picture of McLean holding his mom's decapitated head like it's a trophy. And of course it's blurred because we're not going to show the actual picture on here. After this, though, he was actually sentenced to 25 years in prison. But wait, it gets crazier. You see, years prior, before he was arrested, Basim McLean was actually married to a woman named Vera McLean, in which him and her had a 4-year-old son together. And about a year into McLean's prison sentence, he gets a call while in jail that his ex-wife, Vera McLean, is being charged with murder after beating their 4-year-old son to death with a broomstick. She was then sentenced to 17 years in prison. So one of them killed their mother, dismembered her body, and then flaunted her head in a selfie, and the other one beat their son to death with a broomstick. That's a pretty twisted couple, if you ask me.
Like madness just went through that whole freaking family line. to the sun.
Have you guys heard about the disturbing murder of the 3 Girl Scouts? This is the unsolved murder case of 9-year-old Michelle Gus, 10-year-old Doris Milner, and 8-year-old Lori Farmer. On June 12, 1977, 140 Girl Scouts ages 8 to 18 went to Camp Scott in Oklahoma for 2 weeks. Camp Scott was super popular in the town, but in 1977, nobody was prepared for what was going to happen. The very first night that the girls went to sleep in their tents, Lori, Michelle, and Doris slept together in Tent 8. The next morning at 6 a.m., a counselor found the lifeless bodies of the 3 young girls a short distance from their tent. All 3 girls had been sexually assaulted and badly beaten. Lori and Michelle had been bludgeoned while Doris was strangled to death. Now get this, 2 months before the trip, a training session was held at Camp Scott and something very alarming happened. A counselor's cabin was ransacked and a disturbing note was found in an empty box of donuts. The note said, "We are on a mission to kill 3 girls in Tent 1. Even though this note was strange and upsetting, the camp administrators dismissed the entire thing as a prank. The night the 3 girls were murdered, a camp counselor remembered hearing strange moaning, so she got up and looked around but didn't find anything unusual. The main suspect was an escaped convict that police were desperately looking for, and his name is Gene Leroy Hart. He had been convicted of kidnapping and sexually assaulting 2 pregnant women in the past. Gene was captured 10 months later, but regardless of all the evidence found against him, he was not found guilty by the jury. When Gene was sent back to prison for his original crime, he collapsed and died from a heart attack just 2 months later. A chilling statement was made by Doris's 5-year-old little sister just minutes before she left to the camp. Doris's little sister asked their mom, "Mommy, what happens when people die?" And their mom tried to explain what happens after death. And that's when the little sister responded with, "Yeah, but everyone's gonna die tomorrow." I don't know about you guys, but that is super creepy. These murders remain some of the state's most disturbing unsolved cases.
And those camping trips, I remember there was like a little, I think I remember when I was a kid how our school used to go on those camping trip as well, but I wasn't a fan of them. I was always opted out. I said, nah, they ain't for me. I just don't trust them. Even as a kid, I wasn't trusting nobody. It's a tragic case, man.
Jeffrey Epstein lived in this house in the Upper East Side of Manhattan, and it's been stated that this is the largest private residence in New York. While Epstein was alive, he was visited at this house by a number of famous politicians and celebrities, including infamously Prince Andrew, who claimed nothing happened while he was there. I think the artwork on the house is a little eerie, to say the least, and I'm sure it's symbolic in its own way. Now, multiple bodyguards and people have gone on the record and said that inside of Epstein's house, there was a brain room, or a room filled floor to ceiling with security monitors. This would mean that every single inch of Jeffrey Epstein's house was being videotaped or photographed at every moment. And still to this day, there are tons of cameras on the exterior. I myself was a little freaked out after standing in front of this house, knowing that I was just captured on like 5 different angles. But this would mean that all of the trafficking, the assaults against minors that happened in this house, all of that was caught on camera. And that's true, it was, because Epstein was running a blackmail operation. It's too much to get into now, but if you want to hear me expose the true story, you can listen to the first episode of my show, The Conspiracy Files.
Politician's cloaking device came off and he revealed who he really was. Why? So he's talking? Listen to his voice.
Okay.
Whoa. Whoa. It sounded a little demonic. He's drinking water to try to fix it, and it's not fixing. That was insane. I've never heard anyone's voice crack like that.
Me either.
Stay weird.
There's some things you probably didn't know, because I didn't. Brazil is by far the country that takes the most showers every 12 hours on average. This man spent 5 months in jail because no one told him his bail was just $2. The Sahara Desert sends millions of tons of dust every year across the Atlantic to the Amazon rainforest. The dust is full of nutrients like phosphorus and iron, which is what actually keeps the Amazon rainforest alive and green. A woman in 2005 named Sue Susan Bennett spent 4 hours a day recording random phrases and sentences, not knowing the purpose. It wasn't until 2011, after a friend who had bought the new iPhone 4S told her that she was the voice of Apple's Siri assistant. A recent study says that the ideal age to get married and have a lot of babies is 26 years old. They say that people who marry at this age have the lowest divorce rates, highest marital satisfaction, and better long-term stability compared to those who marry earlier or later. They say you're mature enough to make informed decisions, but young enough to have the energy and biological advantage for childbearing.
There is absolutely nothing that can convince me that this is not a two-way mirror in the kitchen. And that's a listing photo from this property that was recently for sale in Pennsylvania. Here's another view of it from outside just for good measure. And then this is what you see as soon as you walk in. A mirror in the kitchen, not one, but two. And while I don't think this one is a two-way mirror, it still just seems unnecessary to have this in the kitchen, especially when it's facing another mirror. Isn't that bad feng shui? Now, at first glance, I thought that these were drag marks, which we have seen in prior listings, but it becomes abundantly clear as you begin to look at more listing photos that this was caused from a hoarding issue, which makes it all the more upsetting when you see evidence of children living in this space. While I must admit that the pink bathtub is kind of a vibe, what's not a vibe is this room. This room fills me with an overwhelming sense of dread. I can't tell you what happened here. Maybe it was nothing, but whatever it is, I don't like it. Am I alone in this, or is anyone else feeling what I'm feeling?
Africa. How is that house worth $40,000, man? The housing market is insane, bro.
Wants a new world map, calling the current one the world's longest misinformation campaign. This week, the African Union officially backed what's called the Correct Map campaign, which aims to replace our current standardized world map with a version that shows a country's true size. You see, the Mercator map intentionally distorts the sizes of continents and countries for navigation purposes. So it appears that Africa is a similar size to the US or China, when in reality it is so much bigger that the US, China, India, Japan, and much of Western Europe can all fit into Africa, and there still would be space left over. The African Union says that this over 500-year-old map is outdated, and are now calling for schools, governments, and international institutions to adopt images that reflect a country's true size. They propose the Equal Earth projection because they say this is so much more than just a map. It's about Africa's identity and pride. In fact, the head of a campaign group backing this says it's the world's longest misinformation and disinformation campaign, and it simply has to stop. But the question is, what do you think? Does size truly matter, or is the current map fine the way it is?
I don't think they're gonna try to change it.
Live every day as if it's your last, because one day it will be. That statement holds true for these two influencers that were doing a food review sitting in a restaurant when all of a sudden their lives almost changed forever. If you haven't seen the video, it is a little shocking, so viewer discretion is advised. Take a look at this. Bon appetit. Enjoying their food in the restaurant when, wait for it, an SUV crashes right through the restaurant where they're recording their food review. Just look at that in slow motion, how dramatic and scary that had to be for both. Thank goodness the two of them walked away with just minor injuries. It could have been the end for both. Nina Unrated and Patrick Blackwood are known for their food reviews all over social media. They are two incredibly great people, and we are grateful that they're both still with us today. This is the moment right here that possibly could have changed their lives forever. As I said at the beginning of this video, live every day as if it's your last, because one day it will be. And we are grateful that these two are with us today to give us another food review. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and as always, I'd love to hear from you.
Gotta live it up, man. You never know.
How you feel about this now abandoned indoor water park that had a giant T-Rex in it in Scotland, by the way. Like, just knowing that this water park is still there, but abandoned, probably completely closed off to the public, in the complete darkness, possibly still with water in it, who knows, with this giant T-Rex in it. Also, why does it have like the B word in its mouth? The red stuff. What? Oh my goodness, I just noticed that. There's also this guy there.
It's a dragon.
For some reason. That is equally horrifying. The shape of it looks like a pipe. I don't much care for him and his creepy teeth. It was called the Time Capsule, and here's it when it was like going, and once again in Scotland, like this, there's a wave pool back here, so there's the ones with the grates, and oh my goodness. Also, this looks like something straight out of the back rooms. I don't like this whatsoever. Who wants to go on the launch pad of doom? They also had a giant water slide Ussie in there. Why? More backrooms coated area. The fact that this is all abandoned now is just sickening. But especially that T-Rex. Imagine going down this little slide and just being in front of this T-Rex in water. Why would they do this?
Did you go to that part?
Give me your answer. I was married. I can't afford a carry. But you sweet upon the seat of a bicycle field.
Or should I pop out right there?
I don't think y'all understand. You cannot fucking make this shit up, y'all. We now have fucking squirrels with warts. Oozing warts. Oozing warts. They're calling them zombie squirrels. So we just had fucking rabbits with horns or tentacles growing out their face, their head. Now we got zombie squirrels? Look at this shit. They're calling this disease fibromatosis that squirrels have. Once again, y'all, I have never heard of this shit. I've never seen no fucking squirrel having this shit on their skin either. And I don't want to see it. Imagine you in your backyard and you just see an army of squirrels with this on their body running at you and shit. And the fucking Jones just start popping and oozing out shit. What is you doing? I know what I'm doing. Grabbing that motherfucking... Once again, y'all, wildlife experts say you shouldn't be concerned about this stuff. It doesn't spread to your animals or to you or to anybody you know. And once again, when they say that shit, I still be alarmed like, you saying it, but what if it do spread to me? Now I got big ass warts all over my body, nigga. Y'all let me know down below in the comments. Is this new to you? Have you heard about this before? Let me know. And if you seen this in your backyard, what are you doing? And if you made it to the end of this video, I appreciate you.
It is literally going to disappear in 2 days' time. If you didn't get a chance to see the meteor shower that's extremely rare, then make sure you watch this and share this with someone. This is actually even rarer, and it will not happen again until 2027 or 2028.
Okay.
This is known as the Black Moon, and we will literally be getting a Black Moon. Although this sounds scary, it's not, and it will be a chance for you to see some pretty insane things if the sky is clear. It is the 3rd new moon of the season, which actually makes it a black moon, which is very rare. As I say, it's estimated to happen again in 2028 or 2027. It happens when it's in the new moon phase, as I say, and the illuminated side is actually facing away from Earth, meaning it's completely invisible to us. So wherever you are, you won't even be able to see the moon, it will just vanish, and you'll probably look up and go, what the hell, even if it's a clear night. Although you won't actually see anything, you're going to be able to see something else. With no light source, the sky will be so dark, making it a perfect opportunity to see the stars, stargaze, see comets passing, whatever else is up there. You don't often get a chance like this, so if you can get out of a city to somewhere with little light pollution, you're going to see some pretty crazy things.
What's going on these days? This kid just admitted to killing his mother while she was asleep because she took his phone away. To be honest, this isn't even a kid, this is a grown man. He's 21 years old, got mad at his mother that she took his phone, killed her. Now he's gonna spend 30 years behind bars because of this. He was 16 years old at the time when he came home from a night shift and shot his mom, you know. Instead of giving the phone back, she went upstairs and she just went to sleep, you know, she took the phone away, whatever. But instead of sneaking in the room and getting a firearm and stuff like that and shooting your mom, why don't you just sneak in the room and grab the phone and just go downstairs? That would have solved 2 issues right there. You know, he wouldn't be going to jail and he would have had his phone back. He then called his girlfriend to say he found his mom covered in blood in the bed, you know, acting like he didn't do it. You know, the girlfriend's dad came over, saw that she was dead, and then The guy's stories just did not match up whatsoever. Eventually, he was just like, screw it, he admitted to killing her after a while. Because he was a juvenile too at the time, that's why he probably didn't get a life sentence or the death penalty if they have that where they're from in Tennessee. But this is such a senseless case.
Here's some
Over a
crazy
phone?
examples of
Really?
the Mandela effect, part 4. Do you remember sitting at your TV as a kid and seeing this come on?
Nah, you unk status if you did though. Looney Tunes, the OG.
Most people will recall this being spelled like this. However, this was never the case. It was always spelled as tunes, not tunes.
If you want or plan on buying Great Value shrimp, you better think twice about it. So the FDA is warning the public not to eat, serve, or sell Walmart's Great Value shrimp. And they're telling you this because it got contaminated with a radioactive substance. You heard what I just said? Walmart could be possibly selling radioactive shrimp. So apparently they detected these radioactive shrimp before they crossed the border. And if you didn't know, they were coming from an Indonesian distributor. And what they're saying this means is that none of these radioactive shrimp made it across the border. Or did they? But hear this out. This shit is becoming real convenient. First you have radioactive bees. Now you have radioactive shrimp. Now they're saying that all products are going to be banned from coming into the United States from this company. But what company are they talking about? Are they talking about Great Value? Or are they talking about the Indonesian company that they was getting the shrimp from? Think about it as this. Great Value is a cheap option. People usually like to get the cheap option. Is this the only time we're going to have to worry about a situation like this? Radioactive shrimp? What's next? I'm out.
He's spitting, bro. Everybody, man, when it comes to that price range, bro, they were always gonna go for the cheaper option. I wouldn't eat freaking buy seafood from freaking Walmart like that anyway. That's just not me, man. But we got radioactive shrimp, radioactive freaking hornets. Man, what's going on this year, bro? There's a lot of radioactive activity.
Ever heard of Skinny Bob?
This is scary. It sounds scary.
It's a little spooky. Skinny Bob was this random video posted by this channel, Ivan0135 on YouTube. And this video was posted 11 years ago. But in this video, a collection of videos from 1942 to 1969 of interviewing an alien. The crazy thing about this Ivan0135 dude, never monetized the videos, never came out and said who it was. So you look at that and you think that does kind of look like it'd be CGI or something, right?
Yeah.
It's been tested by studios and it has not been discredited yet.
Ever?
They said the way that it was filmed, because it was filmed on like one of those old cameras.
Yeah.
They said it was completely accurate with an old camera. The theories are that it was a real government film. Some believe that it's connected to the Majestic 12 group. That's basically what we would call the Men in Black now.
Okay.
But it's a group of like different
division of that, the CIA.
Government, yeah.
That just focuses on that.
Some believe that was actually from the KGB too. No one's taking credit for it either.
Maybe that was the whole thing. It's like, I can't put my name on this, but I can put it out.
It's insane.
Now, of course, Google will tell you these inventors were nothing but con men, liars, frauds, or just scientists with great ideas who didn't know any better. It will also tell you 0-point energy is impossible, and anyone who stands up for it or even talks about it is attacked or shamed for spreading misinformation. Google debunkers, compliant NPCs who believe they can irrefutably debunk any extreme claim with a 5-second Google search, truly are the downfall of society. The modern-day version of Vladimir Lenin's useful idiot. Google debunkers. Love you guys. You're not allowed to talk like that. You present your theories as if they are fact.
Morbid Facts, Part 702. Carlos Haffy Rodriguez was ejected through a windshield in a drug-fueled crash as a teenager, smashing his skull so badly that surgeons had to remove the entire upper half of it, leaving his brain covered only by skin. Incredibly, he survived without any severe cognitive damage, but went on to rack up arrests for drugs, arson, and other crimes, his caved-in head becoming one of the internet's most infamous mugshots. Here's a photo of tobacco company CEOs declaring under oath that nicotine is not addictive. The moment became infamous when internal documents later revealed that tobacco executives had known for decades about nicotine's highly addictive properties and had even manipulated nicotine levels in cigarettes to enhance dependency. In 18th century Europe, the wealthy often devoured sugar with no real dental care, rotting their teeth into black stumps that often fell out. To keep up appearances, they wore dentures, not wooden as legend claims, but often filled with real human teeth. These were bought from the poor, pulled from slaves or prisoners, or scavenged from battlefields, sometimes still bloody from fallen soldiers. With no concept of sterilization, they could carry infections, even syphilis, into the wearer's mouth. In advanced cases, the disease could slowly eat away at the face, collapsing the nose and leaving a grotesque hollow mask where features used to be.
So they
Your nicotine pack was insane.
Me taking the natural process away, I don't too much like that. What make this more interesting is look who's behind this project. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts on this video in the comments on what y'all think about them just making food poof out of thin air from a machine. In the comments, like or follow for more wisdom. Stay tuned.
People are now mad at Jenna Ortega after what she just said on the newest red carpet for Wednesday season 2, and people are not happy with Jenna's response. So after Jenna Ortega was at a Wednesday red carpet in South Korea, after people are saying that Jenna Ortega was giving an interviewer a hard time, and even more worse, so this is all coming after some strange behavior that Jenna has been doing on the other Wednesday red carpets. They're saying that she is being shy one moment, then happy the next, as well as other moments where she has been crashing out on fans that have been asking for autographs, with a lot of people saying that there seems to be something wrong and that all of this drama in South Korea makes everything so much more worser. And this is where it gets even more insaner. So what happened is that on the red carpet in South Korea, where a magician was doing a magic trick to Jenna Ortega, the magician asked her what kind of card that Jenna Ortega had, and her response was spade. And seemingly the magician asked her if she could repeat what she said, and then Jenna was seemingly not happy that she had to repeat herself, and the way that she said spade the second time, should people really be mad over this?
So this guy drags a magnet across sand on a beach and picks up a bunch of heavy metals, and you'll actually see him melt down these metals, and it's interesting what you see at the end here. Perhaps aluminum, you know, something that they admit that they're spraying in the skies. Look at this, he melts it, takes some water. Where do you think this is coming from, guys? Where do you think these heavy metals are coming from?
3D printed steak is here. Let me show you this, and after I do, I'll tell you why it's not so great.
A juicy, sizzling steak made by computer. While obtaining regular meat is a process that's been taking place for millennia, cow, butcher, beef, Redefined Meat, a meat alternative startup out of Israel, makes their product using a highly technical process. The mix of soy and pea protein, chickpeas, beetroot, nutritional yeast, and coconut fat is formed into steak-like shapes using a 3D printer.
Our goal is to become the largest meat company in the world just by harnessing technology instead of animals.
Meat substitutes are not new, but unlike the soy-based crumbles that mimic ground beef, Redefined Meat's product is designed to act, taste, and cut with happy.
The texture feels right, even the smell smells like the real thing. Really authentic for me.
Now, I'm not going to talk about that company at all. But if somebody else is making 3D printed meat, how can we possibly know what's really in it? Especially if it tastes like the real thing. There's this stuff called microplastics that's become so prevalent from all the stuff that people have made with plastics that it's being found in human tissue. Who's to say some company making 3D printed meat couldn't accidentally put some of that in there? Look, I'm gonna keep eating the way I do, cause I'm old, fat, and the damage is done for me. But to the younger people out there, I say, please be cautious. Cause after stories like this, you never know what you're really eating. Shabadoo Bushkis! Shabadoo!
Yeah. 1 in a million. This is Gary Turner, but he's better known as the Elastic Man. He has a medical condition that causes his skin to be so stretchy that he can stretch the skin from his neck over his mouth. Next is Nanya Su, who's a boy with perfect night vision. His parents both have brown eyes, but he has blue eyes that glow when a light is shined. He claims that it's hard to see during the day, but while everyone sees this at night, this is what he sees. This is Paul Carrison, the real-life Papa Smurf. To fix his skin condition, he would drink silver and rub it on his skin every day, causing him to turn irreversibly blue. Finally, this man came into the hospital with severe chest pain, and doctors were shocked when they discovered he had 2 hearts, and he had suffered a double heart attack.
This truck driver took the life of 5 people because he was distracted on TikTok. In the morning of January 12, 2023, 36-year-old Danny Tyner was driving on Interstate 10 in Arizona when he drove his tractor trailer in to stop the traffic. This scene is so difficult to look at, but basically his truck sandwiched 2 other cars with another big truck at the front. These are the 5 victims that lost their lives on that day, and when Danny was asked what happened, he said that he looked down for a couple of seconds because he got a notification on his work tablet, and when he looked back up, there was not enough time to brake. But that wasn't true. When his phone was analyzed, it showed that he was actively using TikTok when the crash happened. Now, what I found disturbing was that during his interaction with police, he didn't seem too fazed. He was eventually charged with manslaughter and was sentenced to 4.5 years in prison for each count of negligent homicide, which totaled to 22.5 years.
This is the tragedy.
Man, I'm telling you guys, when you out driving, man, just do not be informed, man. Like I said, social media is a distraction, man. That's basically what it was made for. So why would you even attempt to even like look at it while you're driving, bro? That's just doesn't make sense to me. Look at the result of what happened, man. Multiple senses, man, because you just wanted to scroll on TikTok, man. TikTok cannot be, well, we know it's that addicting, man, where you just want to keep scrolling and scrolling, but you drive and you don't have that luxury.
Tragic story of the Boy Scout who made his entire neighborhood radioactive. Nicknamed the Nuclear Boy Scout, David Hahn was a teenager from Michigan who was obsessed with nuclear radiation. When he was only 15, David attempted to build a nuclear reactor in his backyard shed, using radioactive material from household items including vintage clocks, smoke detectors, and gun sights. Within 2 years, David had built a functioning reactor which gave off enough radiation to be detected throughout his entire neighborhood.
Damn.
David was soon caught by police when they found hazardous materials in his car during a routine stop and thought he was building an atomic bomb. When David's shed was raided by the EPA, they determined that his project had created dangerous levels of radiation, leading them to dismantle the building and classify it as hazardous waste. This mugshot from 2006 shows David covered in sores as a result of his extensive exposure to radiation. This, combined with continuous legal and mental health issues, led to David's early passing at the age of 39 from an accidental overdose.
Wanted to become like Adam Man or something.
Superpowers Part 2. The Super Coffee Drinker, BDNF. Carriers of this gene remain completely unaffected to the effects of caffeine from coffee, and can often easily get a night's sleep after drinking a cup. The perfect memory gene, HSAM. If you are lucky enough to be born with this gene, you will have almost a perfect memory. However, it's extremely rare with only 25 confirmed cases. The Super Sprinter gene, ACTN3. People with these genes are able to run extra fast, as these genetics give your muscles a higher flexing rate, which gives them more explosive power.
Speed
the
got
alcohol
that.
immunity gene, ALDH2. Having this super rare gene will mean you will never be able to experience being drunk with your friends, and you might have a lot of explaining to do, as it gives you total immunity from the effects of being drunk.
Imagine if everybody had that, the world would be a safer place, man. Everybody's immune to alcohol. Whew. And the speed definitely got the freaking sprinter gene, bro. I know what I'm talking about. He's too fast. That's the only explanation.
This is how rare your body is compared to the rest of the world. Only 10% of people have something called Darwin's tubercle. It's this little bump on the outside of your ear. And it's said that people who have this are better at sensing voice tonality. 10% of people also have what's called Morton's toe. This is where your big toe is shorter than the toe next to it. Only 26% of people have a narrator inside their head. Most people don't hear a voice when they think. What's even more rare is only 5% of people have their tongues tied to their mouth. I thought everyone had this. Everyone flares their nostrils subconsciously, but only 30% of people can do it on command. Less than 1% of people have unbreakable bones, making you basically superhuman. Only about 35% of people can gleek, and only 1% can do it on command. And gleeking is when you squirt saliva from underneath your tongue.
Any secret, can you guys gleek, bro? I've seen that before. I've always wanted to know what that was, man. I finally got an answer. It's called gleeking, bro. Shoot saliva through your tongue. That's a very, I guess, rare skill set. You got any gleekers, man, in the comments? Oh, that's insane, bro.
This incident has made people on the internet so upset because this woman went up to a teen and pulled down her skirt because she thought it was too short. Even if you think this skirt is too short, I think we can all agree that you cannot go up to a child and touch them. The teen said that this woman approached her from behind and basically put her hand in her area. This woman, who's a 49-year-old Ida Lorenzo, said to the girl and her friends, "I happen to work for the state, and if I have to see your cheeks hanging out again, I will call CPS."
I happen to work for the state, and if I have to watch your cheeks hanging out again, I will call CPS.
Now, let's be real for a second. If this was a man who did this to a young girl, police would be called immediately and there would be no excuses. They were waiting at a restaurant to be seated and she basically felt like it was inappropriate for this young girl to be dressed like this in front of everyone. Which, if you feel that way, then you can leave. You should never be putting your hands on anyone. She was eventually charged with sexual battery, which I'm glad, because you can't be putting your hands on anyone, especially kids.
People who are 1 in a million.
Explained it
This girl's
perfectly.
name is Zhang Rufeng, and she is over 100 years old. But a few years ago, something strange happened. She started growing a horn on her head. At first, it started off small, but now it's grown up to 6 centimeters in length. But the craziest part is, she's actually starting to grow a second horn on the other side. And doctors have offered to remove it from her head, but she refuses. Before I show you the craziest one, I
What?
just found a way you can find your celebrity lookalike, and apparently I look like Mr. Beast. If you want to know who your celebrity lookalike is, just press this link in the comments. Next up is Nang Yasoi, and he has perfect night vision. And the strange part about this is both his parents have brown eyes, but he has blue eyes. When everyone else sees darkness, he sees perfectly in the middle of the night.
The rarest things found on Earth. This is a red diamond, and it is one of the rarest material known to man. Because of that, they are way more expensive than normal diamonds. This tiny one is worth around $25 million.
Damn.
And this is a corpse flower. It's basically a giant flower that smells like rotting flesh, and it can only be found in remote areas in Indonesia. Imagine having one of these in your garden. And this small and beautiful sea creature is a blue dragon. It's only a few inches big, but it eats deadly jellyfish every day for food.
The more you know. I want that freaking red diamond.
A Russian
You gotta
scientist
find
injected
it.
himself with this ancient bacteria to see what would happen. Dr. Anatoly Brushkov discovered bacteria deep within the permafrost of Siberia that was 3.5 million years old, and somehow it was still alive. It was named Bacillus F, and after doing some experiments on it, he realized the bacteria not only seemed to be immune to aging, but also appeared to have a life-extending effect on almost every organism it touched. He tested the strain on female mice who were able to continue reproducing into old age, much older than the average mice could, and when he exposed it to crops, they grew faster and were more frost resistant. The town of Yakut, Siberia, close to where this bacteria was found, also happens to be one of the coldest human settlements on Earth, with their population reporting longer lifespans than average humans, perhaps due to Bacillus F leaking into their water supply. Dr. Brushkov was so convinced he said "fuck it" and injected himself with the ancient bacterium to test it out firsthand. 2 years later, he reported dramatic improvements to his general health, claiming to need less sleep, working longer hours, and just having more energy in his day-to-day life. He also allegedly hasn't gotten sick since he injected himself with it, with him and his colleagues starting to call it the elixir of life. Dr. Brushkov did this in 2013 and claims to be in the best health of his life today. And I'm sure Big Pharma loves the idea of a miracle life potion that would potentially lose them billions of dollars a year in revenue, so we definitely should not question any articles that debunk this find. To be fair, these effects aren't exactly 100% confirmed and could very well be a placebo effect, but that sure didn't stop others from hopping on the Bacillus F bandwagon. German actress Manouche began self-medicating the bacteria and reported being able to go for longer runs, feeling less cold in the winter, and her skin just feeling softer and younger. Brushkov and his team insist the effects of Bacillus F are clear and significant, although they admit they're not yet sure why it has the effect it does. But if they can manage to isolate the gene responsible for the positive benefits of the bacteria, they may have just discovered the ultimate elixir of life. As long as there isn't, you know, a whole-ass industry with infinite money that tries to stop it.
The elixir of life. I gotta believe that, man. Like I said, it could be a placebo effect, but I mean, if you can inject yourself with like 1 million years old bacteria, you have to be pretty sure to do that. I'm definitely going to have to check that out. Go down that rabbit hole.
Weirdest Kids Toys Ever, Part 51. Mr. Bucket, released in 1990, discontinued twice, and brought back. But what was the problem? Well, the shape of the mouth didn't help. But the only thing they actually changed were the words in the jingle. A certain part they decided to cut out.
I'm Mr. Bucket. I'm Mr. Bucket. Commercials in my top. I'm Mr. Bucket. Out of my mouth, I'm Mr.
Extinct animals, scientists are close to reviving. Firstly, the woolly mammoth. It was believed to have gone extinct 25,000 years ago, but scientists discovered hundreds that just died recently. So they're planning to put its DNA inside African elephants, and they expect to bring them back in the next 5 years. Next, dodo birds were hunted to extinction 400 years ago, but a preserved head was recently discovered. By mixing that DNA with a maned pigeon, dodo birds should be coming back in 15 years. Finally, expect to see saber-toothed tigers outside soon, because scientists discovered DNA preserved in tar pits, and they plan to combine it with African lions. So this 10-inch toothed beast should be coming back in 10 years.
That's throwing off the environment, man. They shouldn't be doing that.
Never slice tomatoes this way. So when this guy noticed that his boss was slicing tomatoes one by one, wasting a lot of time, he decided to show him a trick that everyone should know. He took a plate, put a few tomatoes on it, covered them with another plate, and in one move, he sliced more tomatoes than his boss in an hour.
Have you ever seen a
That's
Mickey
insane,
Mouse
man.
gas mask? These were made to calm terrified children. About a month after Pearl Harbor, Walt Disney was in Washington, D.C. to design and discuss Mickey Mouse gas masks for children. 1,000 of these were produced and given away to key members of Congress to help support the project. At the time, President Roosevelt even received one. Walt Disney also came up with drawing designs for Pluto and Three Little Pigs gas masks, although these ones never reached production. They attempted to keep the fun element in something as grim as gas raids. During these raids, children would be persuaded to regard the whole thing as a game.
That's crazy, man. A freaking Mickey Mouse gas mask? Makes you wonder, man, what other freaking, I guess, companies and stuff made things in that time. But like I said, there was only 1,000 of them, so obviously it was a limited number. That was just a dark time, man, in history. Kids had to think it was a game.
Curtain number one is...
That's an edit.
You don't remember what she looks like.
Call them out.
Here are the craziest things to ever happen at Walmart. So one day, an 18-year-old was craving milk. So he decided to steal not one, not two, but 26 gallons of milk from Walmart. Oh, and he did this dressed as a cow. And if that doesn't sound weird enough to you, you'd be surprised to learn that even though he made himself stand out in the cow costume, he managed to not get caught on the spot. Next, on Black Friday in 2013, a customer and his son were freaking out in Walmart because they thought that his ex-wife was possessed by a demon. And so they locked her in their car and set up an exorcism in the parking lot by throwing sacred oil at her, which might have been the reason why they ended up divorcing. Also, back in 2013, a 16-year-old was going into labor, and she gave birth in a Cannon City Walmart bathroom. Now, there was panic for a moment because the baby wasn't breathing, but luckily, one of the store's employees were CPR certified and they revived the baby. I guess Walmart really can help you live better. And finally, in 2011, at a Walmart in South Carolina, customers witnessed a man named Avery Blandon end the life of his wife, Lilia Blandon, while she was working inside the store's bank. Avery stabbed her multiple times, and she sadly passed away on the way to the hospital. He then tried to escape the scene, but he crashed his SUV and was caught by police. But what's weird is that the store stayed open during the investigation.
only in Walmart.
Did you guys see this
They do
video
not
of these
care,
two planes
man.
that almost crashed into each other in midair? It was all caught by this police officer's dash cam. This all happened last month in Syracuse, New York, when a Delta airplane was cleared to take off, while at the same time an American airline airplane was cleared to land in the same runway. So the Delta airplane was on its way to LaGuardia Airport while the American airline plane was arriving from Washington Reagan Airport. What's crazy is that these two planes were only 725 feet away from each other in the air, but from the ground's point of view, they looked so much closer. At one point, the two planes were side by side, and that should not be happening for obvious reasons, which is why the job of an air traffic controller is so important. This error was completely on the air traffic controller, who shouldn't have cleared both airplanes at the same time. It's still unclear why and how this happened, but they're still investigating. Thankfully, both planes did not collide, and all 159 passengers are safe.
It's official.
That's insane to think about, man. Like, they were literally like that close. Like, there's like a hair off if something happened, man. Like she said, it was the air trafficker's job. That they need to, whoever's there that day, they had to get their freaking job reviewed or something like that, because they obviously was not paying attention. Flights, man. One of the most scariest things, man, that can happen. Fun fact, I've never been on an airplane before yet. I've never flown yet, so that just raises my anxiety.
Aliens exist. These are the remains of non-human creatures. They were presented to a hearing in Mexico's Congress, which is investigating unidentified anomalous phenomena. The hearing was told that the specimens were found in Peru in 2017 and apparently are 700 and 1800 years old. People online were quick to compare the likeness to that of E.T. from the movie. One user wrote, "No way, they can't be that small. Those are mutated cats." But looking at a picture that was released of their skull, this is no cat, which is eerily similar to a skull they found in 2021. What's worse is experts testified under oath that one of them is seen to have eggs inside it, and both specimens were said to have implants made of very rare metals. And even though the aliens are pretty small, you can tell that this is clearly something different. I ain't gonna lie, this guy looks like he doesn't want to go to work tomorrow. Let's take one last look. Do you believe in aliens?
Morbid facts.
Do you?
Part 402. George Lopez has a genetic condition that caused his kidneys to slowly deteriorate. So when he needed a new kidney in 2005, his wife Ann gave him one of her own. A couple years later, George reportedly cheated on his wife, then divorced her in 2010, all while wearing her kidney. The first scientist to observe penguins engaging in gay intercourse, grape, and necrophilia was so disturbed that he tried to obscure his findings to prevent people from knowing the truth about penguins. In 1995, a substitute school bus driver in Illinois stopped at a red light with the back part of the bus still on some train tracks. The children were screaming for her to move the bus forward as a train approached, but she was confused about what they meant. The train struck the bus at 60 miles per hour and 7 children were killed. In 2018, Gloria Williams pleaded guilty to posing as a nurse to abduct Kamaya Mobley from her mother's arms in the maternity ward. She was sentenced to 18 years in prison, the same length of time Kamaya was separated from her birth family.
That wasn't that it.
4-year-old Gabby Mann was living in Seattle, Washington with her family. One day, she dropped a chicken nugget onto the ground, and before she could pick it up, a neighborhood crow swooped down and took the free lunch. And because Gabby was a messy eater, she continued to drop food everywhere she went, and so she continued to inadvertently feed these crows. She grew to really enjoy the attention, and so she started feeding them huge portions of her lunch. When Gabby's mother discovered where most of her daughter's food was going, she wasn't upset. She was just worried her daughter wasn't getting enough to eat. They would go out and buy some food just for the crows. She and her mom began feeding the crows every day. Gabby went outside one morning to refill the peanut tray when she noticed there was a small earring. Over the following few weeks, when more and more little trinkets started showing up, Gabby's mom installed a camera. She was amazed to see the crows would come in and they would eat their food, and then they would leave behind these shiny little trinkets. But the crows' most astonishing gift came the following year. Gabby's mother was an avid photographer, and one day she was out by herself photographing a bald eagle. She managed to drop a lens cover to one of her cameras. That night, when she got back to her house, she couldn't believe what was sitting there. She ran back inside and pulled up the footage from the bird camera, and there it was, a crow coming into the yard with the lens cap in its mouth. This behavior is very significant because it means the relationship between the crows and Gabby and her mom was not a transactional one. Today, Gabby and her mother still feed the crows every single day, and the crows still love Gabby and her mother.
Okay,
It's like good karma coming back to
a
you.
pharmaceutical company that's trialing a new groundbreaking age reversal pill had such good results that the local news wanted to run a story on them. But before they even could publish the video, the chairman and CEO died. You see, 6 months ago, this 12-year-old German Shepherd was near death. He had terminal cancer, was operated on, and his prognosis wasn't looking good. The dog's caretaker knew that an age reversal trial was being conducted on dogs, and so she asked if Zeus could be a part of it due to his dire situation. The pill's aim is to lengthen telomere caps on human stem cells, because as part of the aging process, our telomeres shorten, which increases the chance of age-related diseases and, of course, death.
If you can increase telomeres, you can reproduce stem cells and keep repairing things so that you can get literally younger.
They said that in their drug's preclinical data from a previous in vitro human cell study, it showed that the medication lengthened telomeres by almost 200%. Zeus was granted access to the medication in April, and his caretaker said that she saw results almost immediately.
He's doing marvelously. He goes out to our pool and he swims and he has fun and he plays with the tennis ball.
A recent scan showed that the cancer in his body had completely disappeared, and the results were so remarkable that she asked for more to give another 12-year-old dog that could hardly walk due to arthritis. And just last week, she said that he had started galloping and running again. But then, despite all of that, he hit us with this.
And we are sad to report that since this interview was conducted, Dr. Christopher Chapman has recently passed away.
On the company's website, they announced his passing, saying, out of respect and privacy for Dr. Chapman's family, details of the 71-year-old's passing will not be made available. And then added that to support the new chairman and CEO, 3 telomere directors have voluntarily resigned. Human trials for this drug are planned for mid-2025.
The rarest things in the world.
What do you
Rarest
think
animal,
happened?
Vaquita, only 10 left in the wild. Rarest gem on earth, painite, worth $60,000 per carat. Rarest poker hand, the royal flush, 1 in 655,000 chance. Rarest element on earth, astatine, less than 1 gram on earth exists. Rarest car, Ferrari 250 Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo? Didn't they make a movie about that?
Okay, this is getting hard to believe, but there has just been reports of a second wave of explosions in Lebanon, but this time it's people's walkie-talkies. So yesterday, Hezbollah fighters' pagers, today, their radios. Initial reports are saying that the most recent wave of explosions have caused cars and houses to be set on fire, and there were even reports, this one's crazy, that one exploded at a funeral of someone who died from yesterday's explosions. And while I'm on the topic of explosions, you're going to see a lot of reports of people saying explosive devices found at Trump rally, even going as far as saying third assassination attempt, question mark. Let me just save you some time. That is a false report. There's going to be a lot of corrections. Don't worry about it. I'll keep you updated.
Imagine being kidnapped, locked in a basement, and then when the police come, they just leave you there to die. Back in the 1980s, many girls in Belgium were just randomly vanishing without a trace. This guy right here, Mark Detroit, was the guy who was doing all of this. Now, in his early years, he had a lot of relationship issues and ended up marrying his second wife, Michelle Martin, this woman right here. What these two would do together genuinely will make you feel sick. Major trigger warning, if you're easily scared, please just keep on scrolling right now. Let's see if I can find it. On June the 7th, 1985, they took their first victim, who was an 11-year-old girl walking home from school, which they kidnapped. They took her back to their place, armed her, and then took a photo of her after this before just releasing her. Now, they did this tons of times before actually being caught by the police the first time, but then it got far worse. So they were both arrested but got a very, very short sentence and were out in no time. Mark was released in 1992 after serving literally 3 years in prison for all of this. Of course, the reason they were caught the first time was because the victims they let go free had reported them, so they built this literal dungeon in the basement of the house where they would keep people. He went on to kidnap at least 6 people in the space of a couple of years and left them all in here. At this time, the news was going crazy in the local area because tons of girls were going missing. No one knew where they were, but they were all in here. Now, even crazier again, Mark's own mother actually reported him to the police and they still didn't go round. And she even told the police that he literally had girls captive in the basement right now and the police did nothing. Not long after this, though, Mark was actually arrested for something completely separate, stealing a car, and he told his wife she would have to keep the girls in the basement alive by watering them and feeding them. yet. Now, by far, the most angering part of this whole story is that the police finally went round and did a check on the house. They literally heard children screaming and begging for help, and they walked out. They did nothing. Because apparently it sounded like the screams were coming from outside and just kids playing prank or something. Like, what? There was even undeveloped camera film on the side here, which they just didn't develop, but if they did, they would have seen literally everything. Now, apparently, this woman was too scared to go into the basement and look after the girls, so tragically passed away. When he finally got out, he started again, and more girls started vanishing, until eventually someone came forward after spotting him in a van, basically while in the act. He then confessed, showed the police the whole basement and everything, and even showed them where some bodies of people were. He also reportedly had another accomplice, but they had a disagreement, and he unalived him and buried him in the house as well. After the whole case came to a close, she got 30 years in jail, and he got a life sentence.
Under a microscope, it looked just like crystals. When you put tears under a microscope, this is what tears and grief look like. Tears of timeless reunions, tears of laughing and crying, tears of release. This is more images of what tears look like under a microscope. Remember, water has memory, so every time you release some of your tears, you're releasing some of your memories. If you ever start crying and tears fall from your right eye first, that means happiness. If tears fall from your left eye first, that means tears of sadness. If tears fall from your eye at the same exact time, that means your body is doing a natural detox. Every time someone speaks about a detox, they speak about herbs, plants, and fasting. Did you know that crying is the greatest detox you can do? The image you are looking at right now in the background is tears when you cry at the same exact time. You ever ask yourself why they always say men shouldn't cry? They said if a man cries, it makes him weak, but it's really the opposite. When a man cries, it recharges his whole physical body to get more strength. So next time you want to do a natural detox, go outside while it's raining and start crying and watch how your body recharge.
I swear. Okay. I didn't know crying was a detox. It's crazy, man, how each different emotion, bro, they look different under the microscope. We're learning.
God, I'm at the Asian market. Look, I ain't never seen no motherfucking black chicken. The fuck out of here.
What?
What? The fuck? Oh shit.
Today marks 10 years that my sister has been gone. I have told this story before on Facebook. A couple years ago, I told this story on TikTok. And I'm just trying to spread awareness. So TikTok, please understand this is for educational purposes only. My sister was unalived by her husband using witchcraft, black magic, root is what we call it in the South, because he didn't want her to be successful. He was very jealous of her and he didn't want her to succeed. It is a long story, but I just wanted to put it out there that I will be telling the story again. I just need to get through this day. What y'all need to understand is this shit's real and that it could happen to anybody. So let me get through this day, and I will post part 1 probably tonight or tomorrow. And this time I'm gonna go in a bit more detail about what happened, why we caught it so late, and just try to understand that this could happen to anybody. She was beautiful, she was smart, she had children, she was talented, she had a lot going for herself. And when you are a powerful woman, and you come across a needy man, stay tuned for part 1. I just need to get through this day and then I will put up part 1.
Sounds scary. I don't know what he
I
did.
knew exactly who will be playing in this year's Super Bowl just by looking at the logo. The NFL really thought the neon colors would throw us off. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, basically every year the NFL releases their Super Bowl logo, and for the past few years, the 2 primary colors that are in the logo have also been the primary colors of the teams that end up playing in the Super Bowl. And you're trying to tell me this isn't scripted? Anyway, back to this year. Let me show you what this looks like with the saturation turned down. We go from pink and lime green to our primary colors being purple and blue. If you're thinking, hey, what about the red right there? The game is in San Francisco. The Golden Gate Bridge is red. So do not even try to tell me that that little bit of red means the Chiefs are going to be in this year's Super Bowl, because I cannot handle that. There's also a shocking amount of green on this logo, but that'll all make sense when I tell you what teams these are. The blue is obvious. It's the Lions, whose primary colors are really just blue. And the purple is even more obvious. It's the Ravens. And here's where that green starts to make sense. The Ravens' main color is not just purple, it's also gold. And gold is really just yellow. But the Lions don't have another color, so they kind of just rock with blue. And what happens to blue when it's mixed with gold or yellow? It turns green. So nice try, NFL, but the script has officially been leaked again. Lions-Ravens Super Bowl 2026.
There's some crazy. If that's true, we're coming back to this video. Called it Lions-Ravens 2026.
Things happening in the world right now. A man in Michigan, known for his generosity in his community, made one final gesture to thank his community by literally making it rain cash from a helicopter at his own funeral using his life savings. He was a beloved car wash owner in East Detroit, and he died from Alzheimer's at 58 years old. Sounds like a great guy. We can now help the US government pay down its debt using Venmo and PayPal. Yippee! A Florida man was arrested for drunk driving a lawnmower down a highway. McDonald's had an AI hiring tool that's password was 123456, which someone apparently guessed and exposed the data of 64 million applicants to McDonald's. And everyone is welcome classroom sign is violating a new Idaho law. The law says that you're not allowed to put up political statements as signs in classrooms. I guess, okay. A teacher was banned recently in Wales for drinking alcohol, swearing at other teachers, and dancing to the Macarena while under the influence of alcohol. Obviously, or not obviously, I don't know. Sometimes you just want to dance to the Macarena, I guess.
I want y'all to go look up how many black truck drivers go missing. If you have a truck driver in your family, you need to send them as many videos as you can, because the stories are here on TikTok. Let me tell y'all what's going on. They had a black man, 38 years old. He talked to his wife at 3:45 that morning. When he talked to his wife at 3:45 that morning, he told his wife he was getting down, off the interstate to go get some coffee. She never talked back to him ever again. I think his wallet and I believe the truck was found or something like that. But she haven't heard from her husband at all. So who has snatched this man? Where's this man? You think he just up and just left it and just, come on, bro? What's really going on? But I want y'all to go and look up truck drivers, black truck drivers that has went missing. You'll be surprised the stories that's out there. Though it's just not safe. And I know me and my husband has traveled, and we done got down on in these little towns to stop to get gas, and it just don't feel right. You know what I'm saying? So sundown towns are real, guys. I actually talked to my nephew because he's a truck driver, and he told me he walked in a store, and he said, Auntie, everything just got quiet. So basically he knew he wasn't, he wasn't comfortable, or he wasn't supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you knew the people had a problem of him being there. Talk with your loved ones, okay? And guys, share this man's story. I'm going to hashtag his name, okay? I'm praying for his family. Hugs and love. If you are a black truck driver, please be careful. Again, hugs and love. Y'all be blessed, J-Lo.
Thanks for the warning. Is he looking for his keys in his mouth? Oh yeah, he's cooked. I don't know what he on, bro. I don't know what was going through his mind.
Putting in our food. Watch this. This is insane. There's no way Sweet Tea does this.
Like Jello.
No way. Stay weird, y'all. That's goop. None of these places are safe to eat at anymore. Can anyone explain why this happens? As always, thank you for watching. Stay weird.
I just watched a video of that girl saying that everything's been so crazy because there's a time traveler who keeps going back to 2020 to try to fix things, make shit right, but he keeps fucking it up. Listen, I know y'all think I believe everything, but here's why I believe that. Because y'all don't remember this time last year, or maybe a year and a half ago, that time traveler that was caught at the Airbnb in that shed on that guy with the Airbnb host Ring camera. Bro, whatever you believe, okay? He went in, he was in his 20s, he came out, he was in his 50s, 60s. We never seen him again. You gotta be kidding. He's still out here. He's still out here. It was the same guy. The same shaped forehead, the same glasses. He looked at the camera. It's the same guy. He's still out here trying to make changes. That's where we're getting all these Mandela effects from. Didn't they look him up too, and they found his name, and they found that he was involved in like quantum physics and astrophysics.
Wow.
You can't make it up. That's him. He's still out here.
Our sensory systems were not shaped to show us the truth. They were shaped to keep you alive long enough to reproduce successfully. Darwin's theory says the probability is zero that any sensory system, like eyes, ears, smell, touch, taste, has ever been shaped to see any aspect of objective reality truly. What you do experience is sensory systems that guide adaptive behavior.
So your eyes, your nose.
They guide you so that you act in ways that you don't die too quickly.
Okay.
And you can have kids that don't die too quickly. That's all it's about.
If you just imagine, like, wipe off everyone on the earth and it's just you, and we remove all of your senses, what is in that space? Because you're right, my senses, my eyes, my ears, my ability to understand temperature is a byproduct and consequence of me surviving. If we think about ghosts and the afterlife, maybe there was no reason from a survival perspective that I even needed to be able to see or acknowledge them. Maybe it just didn't help. So anybody that could process all that information wouldn't have been good at reproducing, therefore they wouldn't be here. So maybe those of us that are here were just really good at ignoring the other dimensions.
That's what our mathematics says. I think that your intuitions on that are quite right. If you pay attention to anything other than what allows you to have kids, you're wasting your time from an evolutionary point of view.
Oh, what is that?
What the hell is that?
This is a telescope, and I don't know what this looks like. Bacteria or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's so gross. Oh wow, you got it.
4K.
I don't know, y'all. This is kind of creepy.
Very creepy. If you're trying to reduce your exposure to microplastics, you might have to stop breathing.
New research just confirmed microplastics aren't just in our food and water. We're inhaling them, and at a rate 100 times higher than previously estimated. We can't see them, but they're there. The good news? You can take small steps that actually help. Dust regularly, open your windows, and rethink the synthetic stuff you use every day.
NASA works for the devil, and they found him in the bottom of the ocean in the 60s. So they've been trying to cover up the Sealab 3 project for quite some time. Sealab 3 was this mission where the Navy and NASA partnered up to see the bottom of the ocean to test certain things. But what they were doing was certain types of research. In short, they were trying to get in contact with the devil. Well, at least NASA was. Now, whenever they got to the bottom of the ocean, things got really weird. And there is multiple reports of sabotage. Any of the Navy members that discovered anything for some reason ended up missing. Now, the more fascinating thing about this is one of the supposed astronauts that supposedly went to space, Scott Carpenter, was down there the entire time. Now, they tried so hard to stop the information from coming out that even whenever they did a 2-week decompression period, even that was getting sabotaged. This is all public information too. Please fact check me if you don't believe me. The ocean is the house of the Dajjal or Antichrist, and it is also the house of the devil. There is multiple biblical texts that talk about this. The Quran, the Bible, the Torah all mention about how these sinners or evil people at some point in time throughout all of these stories were going to be sent to the abyss. Now the word abyss means the deepest dark part of the ocean. It comes from the Greek word abyssos, Everything that NASA says is a lie. They are working directly with the devil.
The seismographs at Yellowstone have been down for almost 2 weeks now. People are starting to feel a chill in the air as these seismographs at Yellowstone National Park and the University of Utah, which monitors the Yellowstone supervolcano, have been down. No one has an idea as to why both of them have been down at the same time. However, typically they will let us know when they're about to do maintenance so as to not frighten people. This time that did not happen and they have just been down without a reason. This is directly after this seismograph was recorded at Yellowstone. And as all of this is going on, a man on TikTok is posting videos of the ground shaking. This man lives on a ranch near the Yellowstone National Park. In one of these videos, he has a water bottle on the ground, and as he's recording, you can see several small fissures pop up. And then a bit into the video, the water bottle falls over. And this person has posted many videos of the ground shaking to such an extreme degree that it sounds like water is boiling underneath the surface of the crust.
So we got a freaking super volcano about to go off in the Yellowstone. We see the bison leaving, fleeing. That seismograph was looking scary.
Is scared he will never die. Ismail Azizi from Tanzania has reportedly been declared medically dead by doctors on 6 separate occasions, but has come back to life every single time, and no one can explain how. In a recent documentary by Aframax, they report that the first time he died was after a workplace accident. He was taken to the hospital in critical condition, and soon after, doctors declared him dead, not some randoms off the street. His body was taken to the morgue while his family started preparing his funeral. But to their bewilderment, he regained consciousness and walked out of the morgue onto the street like he was taking a nap. And that was only round 1. He died again after catching malaria, but this time he made it all the way to the coffin before yet again waking up at his own funeral. Now this became a literal cycle for years. Death 3 was after a car accident where he collided with a fuel tank and put him in a coma. But like clockwork at this point, after being pronounced dead by medical professionals again, he woke up. And at this point, even the doctors were getting freaked out. Death 4 was after he got bit by a venomous snake, but this time he spent a whopping 3 days in the morgue. And that really convinced his family that Ishmael was gone for good this time. But no, because when they went to go retrieve his body for his 4th funeral, he woke up again. Now after his 5th death, he fell into a toilet pit. His community started getting a little scared, and they became convinced beyond reasonable doubt that he was a witch or a ghost. So you know what they decided to do? Burn his house down with him inside to try and kill him for the 6th and final time. And guess what? They were successful until he woke up again. Bro, I'd be scared too. I couldn't die. And now, after all of this, he has to live in an isolated old house with no neighbors, because apparently he's a bit of a local legend and people are too scared to live near him. He also said he can't get a job either as a result of the stigma. Bro, one meeting with JD Vance, cooking for sure.
Why is nobody talking about this? China is back on a lockdown. Just the other day, over 7,000 people was affected with something called the chikungunya virus, a mosquito-borne illness that causes joint pain, fever, fatigue, and in some cases, paralysis. But here's where it gets weird. They're spraying the cities, they're deploying drones everywhere, scanning every rooftop, and if you got standing water and you're not dumping it, they're finding you up to $1,000. I'm even hearing they're cutting people power. Mosquito nets, quarantines. They treating this shit like a biohazard. They're releasing modified mosquitoes. Like that's gonna help or some shit. I feel like that's gonna make it even worse. Y'all know who started the genetically modified mosquitoes, right? Let me know in the comments. And as of right now, the CDC just issued a travel warning. So if you're traveling to China, they advise you not to, unless you really got to. And I don't see a reason why you would really have to go there when something like this is going. Now this. I got some questions. If this was just a regular bug virus, why the lockdown? Why the surveillance drones? And why the severe emergency level response? Maybe this ain't just a virus, y'all. Climate change is making these viruses spread even faster. Y'all never noticed that? And governments already know what's happening. They running drills while a lot of other people still trying to figure out what's going on. But I be hit. You ever wonder what else they know that we don't?
The guy who was caught throwing toys on the WNBA court has finally told us why he did it. And yes, they have finally caught the green toy machine. His name is Caden Lopez, and he is already facing charges of disorderly conduct and ASSULT after his most recentest throw seemed to hit Sophie Cunningham in the leg. Then Kelsey Plum kicked it off the court, and this is where it gets more worser. A lot of people were saying that he was going for Sophie Cunningham specifically after Sophie literally said, "Stop throwing toys on the court, you're going to hurt one of us." Now the WNBA has implemented a no-bag policy for games. And even though a lot of people think that this is super funny, a lot of people are super angry that this is happening. And this is where it gets even more insaner. So the 3 toys that have been thrown have been over the past week in 3 different cities across the United States. The first one in Georgia, the second one in the state of Chicago, and the third one where he got caught in Los Angeles. And people were wondering if it was the same guy all 3 times, as well as how did he sneak them in? Well, it turns out that he snuck in the green toys on his person, which is the most disgustingest thing I've ever heard. He was doing this just because it's funny. Should he be free?
I don't know. I don't think so,
though. Seriously? What the hell? It's that hot here?
It's melting everything.
看到感觉是干嘛呢？我的乖呀，感觉。
What the hell is that? Is that hot?
Want to know how hot it is in Australia? This hasn't been switched on. It's just been baking in the Aussie sun. Just goes to show.
God dang.
Disturbing backstory. This sweet-looking little girl is Jeannie, also known as the Wild Child, who spent the first 13 years of her life chained to a chair, and this photo was taken moments after she'd just been rescued. This normal-looking scenic painting features the ocean with the night sky. However, it was painted by Adolf Hitler, whose dream in life was to become an artist. However, he failed the entrance exam to art school and ultimately gave up. This photo of Richard Hickok and Perry Smith shows 2 murders after hearing that they'd been sentenced to death. They murdered a family of 4 and planned to rob them, but they found nothing worth stealing except for a mere $50. The girl on the left is wearing a wire. The girl on the right has no idea. Together they stabbed one of their friends to death, and the girl on the left confessed to the police and is now cooperating with them. Besides the pixelation, this looks like a couple getting married surrounded by their loved ones. However, all the children in this photo were horribly physically and mentally abused until a couple of them managed to escape. Nobody has been able to explain this creepy viral video. For the past 11 years, a man who runs a TikTok account by the name of Dude, My House is Haunted has been pretty confident that there has been some paranormal activity within his home. He claims that ever since his wife passed away, there have been some strange and unusual things going on. So eventually, he decided to leave cameras out and record what was happening and post it onto TikTok, which is the footage that you are about to see. In this video, you can see a chair seemingly moving on its own. It moves somewhat slowly until it suddenly is violently pulled into the corner by the kitchen. A mysterious, shadowy figure can be seen moving behind the chair, and then suddenly out of nowhere, the chair is thrown into the kitchen. Now, of course, we're not really sure what happened in this video, but I'm having a hard time coming up with an explanation for this one.
I think I have the explanation for you. I think it's called an edit. I think that one is cap. I don't just believe that one, man. Just the chair's just getting thrown around, acting all flimsy. I'm gonna have to call cap on that one. My personal opinion.
Scary Unexplained Mysteries Part 2. Let's go. It had been over a month since Pauline Picard was reunited with her family, and everything was peaceful, until something horrifying was found that reopened the whole entire case. A man who was biking near the Picard household came across what appeared to be the dead corpse of a child, along with the skull of an adult man. And worst of all, the clothes that Pauline Picard was wearing the day she disappeared were found folded neatly next to the dead bodies. This sent the village into yet another panic, and it caused the Picard family to wonder if the girl they had living with them was even their daughter. The family eventually concluded that the girl that was living with them was not their daughter, and they returned her back to where she came from. Not knowing where else their daughter could be, the Picard family eventually accepted that the body found near their house most likely belonged to Pauline. Authorities have never been able to track down the murderer, and to this day, nobody knows for sure who the body in the Skull in the Meadow belongs to. Maybe she's still out there.
Maybe, but who's that girl with
Signs that you could be a psychopath. Number 1, you get bored easily. You always need a sense of excitement in your life, and you get this by taking extreme risks or even playing with other people's minds. Number 2, you're more rational than others. As long as you're not bored, you don't really care about negative emotions such as grief or anxiety. This allows you to stay calm in a crisis, and even when your own life is in danger. Number 3, you lie a ton and you don't know why. You lie even when there's nothing to gain from lying. Sometimes you lie just because of the pleasure that you derive from doing so. 4, you never own up to your actions. Even when you know it's your fault, you still decide to blame it on others. And despite this, you never feel guilt.
I got any of those traits to be a psychopath then? I don't think I exhibit any. But if you lie a lot, I didn't know that was the path to being a psycho. Don't lie.
A worldwide police notice has been issued for a missing college student who traveled from the US to the Dominican Republic for spring break. And despite a massive search being underway, she is still nowhere to be found 6 days later. Sudiksha Kunaki, who is only 20 years old and studying medicine at Pittsburgh University, went to the beach with a group of friends after clubbing at about 5 a.m. After about an hour, most of the group called it a night and headed back to the hotel. But Sudiksha stayed with the guy that they met while they were out, named Joshua Ride from Iowa, USA. In fact, this was the last known security footage of Sudiksha headed to the beach. It looks like she was quite drunk and unstable and in the arms of the guy who is believed to be Joshua. The two of them reportedly went swimming in the ocean together and the waves were pretty rough. Now, Joshua gave authorities 3 different accounts of what happened next. The first being that he was hit by a big wave and started to feel sick. He asked her if she was okay before going back to the shore and passing out on the sand. When he woke up, she had vanished, and she's never been seen since. The second account was that before he fell asleep, he saw her in knee-deep water. And the third account being that he saw her walking along the shore before he passed out. Now, sources say that translation issues could have been the reason for those differences. Authorities have speculated that Sudiksha may have drowned, but because they still have not found her body on land or at sea, they released this worldwide missing persons police notice. Yesterday, her father called on authorities to expand search efforts because he is growing concerned that she was kidnapped or trafficked since her body never washed ashore. Now, police say that there were no signs of violence and that Joshua is not considered to be a suspect at this time. But of course, as we know more, I'll keep you guys updated.
Weird human...
We gotta be careful, man, when we're going out, especially, man. That's why, personally, I don't try to, drink a lot, because I like to be aware of my surroundings. I always like to know what's going on, especially if you're, near a body warrior, too. Yeah, when you drink, man, your judgment get impaired, and you can't really judge situations, so hopefully, man, they find it.
Body facts that I can guarantee you didn't know. When a baby is born, its blood volume can actually fit inside of a can of soda. When you blush, the lining of your stomach also blushes. And that's kind of weird, but it's even more weird to think about, how the fuck do we know that? 1 out of 5,000 children are born without an asshole, and the doctors have to create one for them. And it's a really weird birth defect to have because we literally start out as assholes.
I never knew that. Doctors have to make an
10
asshole.
things Disney doesn't want you to know. Part 3. So today I'm going to be talking about the mysterious case of Deborah Gale Stone, aka Debbie Stone. Debbie Stone was an 18-year-old hostess at Disney. She was a hostess for the ride America Sings, which was a musical performance. This was a new attraction, and basically you'd be sitting in a theater facing the stage, and after every act, the theater would rotate. In 1974, during the last performance of the night, Debbie got caught between the rotating wall and the stationary stage wall. She was instantly crushed to death. The scary part is that the audience heard her screams but thought that it was part of the show. Now, the big mystery is how did she get caught in the first place? Some say that she fell between the two walls, others say that she was trying to jump from one stage to another and then got caught, and other people think that she was pushed. On that day, Debbie had just gotten engaged and was super excited and was showing all her coworkers her ring. Apparently one of them was really jealous, but to this day we sadly still don't know what truly happened to Debbie. Make sure to like for part 4.
It happened.
An explosion rocked the campus in Lubbock, Texas. Fire and smoke erupting from underground. Students rushed to safety as power outages spread across campus. Firefighters flooded the scene, battling blazing manholes as officials scrambled to contain the crisis. Texas Tech shut down the school for the rest of the week, urging students to go home early for spring break. The cause still unknown. But with the entire campus losing power, the investigation is just beginning.
Sources are now saying.
Why was the fire freaking a neon color? That's my questioning. That's what's going on, man. I know, man, we haven't been treating the environment right, but neon fire? That's not a good sign. It's really not. Thankfully, nobody was hurt, but what's going on, bro? Neon fire? We're going to have to check into that expeditiously.
Saying that Hugh Jackman will also be deposed for the Blake Lively-Justin Baldoni case if it goes to trial. So reportedly, Justin Baldoni's legal team wants to get the full scope of Ryan Reynolds' conduct during the time that It Ends With Us was filming. And part of that will be deposing Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds' co-star in Deadpool and Wolverine, and a friend of Blake Lively and Reynolds. An insider reportedly said Hugh will be deposed if this goes to trial. There's no way that he cannot. The source also pointed out how Hugh Jackman helped promote It Ends With Us in, quote, the same way that Taylor did when they did their group shoot for the cross promo with Deadpool. The source said the timing of the premieres is also no coincidence. Honestly, it would not be surprising if Hugh Jackman is deposed because Deadpool and Wolverine was filming around the same time as It Ends With Us, and so Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman were spending a lot of time together, and likely with Blake Lively as well. So if he has any information that can help Justin Baldoni's team, they will utilize that. Again, none of this is happening anytime soon. Depositions are part of the process before a trial, so if the trial does happen in 2026 as it is currently set to, then depositions will be happening, and Hugh Jackman and Taylor Swift could be some of those deposed.
There's a mother in Texas that is adamant that this body in the museum is of her son. Kim Eric Smith is the mother of Christopher Todd Eric. In 2012, her son passed away under unusual circumstances. She believed that he was poisoned with cyanide and that his body was sold. Initially, authorities said that he passed away due to natural causes. But months later, Kim was notified by the medical examiner that her son's blood contained lethal doses of cyanide. When Kim saw this body in the museum, she said mother's instinct, she knew that it was her son. Here's a photo of them side by side. Not only that, but the body and Eric's had similar scarring, which is really freaky if you ask me. All Kim wants to do is to shed light on this and to bring her son's body home and have a proper burial. If this is true and his body is on display for financial gains and was sold off to the museum, that's insane.
Disturbing facts that will ruin your life. When whales reach a certain age, they will eventually be too weak to swim back to the surface for air, so they will just suffocate to death and eventually sink to the bottom of the ocean. When you die, you will be aware that you are dead until the moment your brain fully ceases function. When getting laser eye surgery, you can smell the parts of your eyes being shaved down. During the French Revolution, where the guillotine was introduced, the people to be executed fought to be first, as the blade would dull after multiple uses, and wouldn't cut a head clean off at the first attempt. If you're male, after you die, your loved ones can have a doctor electrocute your prostate to force you to ejaculate for sperm. Humans have enough bite power to bite off their own finger, bone and all. The only thing stopping us is our brain's natural safety factor. A deceased human body can take between 24 to 48 hours to decompress, releasing the remaining blood, urine, and fecal matter, depending on the situation, position, and method of death. If you die on a submarine, they put your body in the fridge with all the food. If not, up a torpedo tube. It's actually common that corpses will periodically burp, fart, gasp, groan as gases escape through the mouth and anus. When you get burned by electricity, it actually leaves marks shaped like lightning on your skin. Hit the plus sign if you want to learn more facts.
We learned a whole lot of facts in that short amount of time.
Scientists did to themselves. Henry Smolinski was tired of working his job as an engineer, so he decided to quit and pursue his dream, which was to make the world's first flying car available for anyone in the world to purchase. His plan was to take a Ford Petma and put it together with the tail and wings of a Cessna Skymaster plane.
After a bunch of successful test flights, the public launch was only a few months away. But one day, when Henry and his co-founder was doing further testing, they came crashing down. Due to bad welds and bad locking mechanisms, the wings failed and they crashed. Unfortunately, everyone in the flying car passed away.
Here's some crazy things that people originally resisted. Streaming services were laughed at first, with TV networks insisting nobody would ever want to watch movies or shows on the internet. Online dating was considered desperate by people in the 90s and early 2000s, thinking only the socially inept would meet partners on the internet. Self-checkouts were seen as confusing, with the early users insisting they were slower and less convenient than real cashiers. Movies with sound were considered a gimmick, with silent film actors, critics, and audiences in the 1920s thinking talkies would never replace cinema. They were wrong. The Walkman was ridiculed by critics in the 1980s, insisting that nobody would ever want to listen to music alone on the go. Ebooks were hated by book lovers, with many refusing to believe digital reading could ever match the feel of paper. Airplanes were thought impossible, with respected scientists in the early 1900s claiming humans would never achieve powered flight, just 2 years before the Wright brothers proved them wrong. Cars were mocked as impractical, with people in the early 1900s calling them a passing fad because horses were way more reliable.
Which of these facts is...
Could you imagine, like, if each one of those speaking people they could see what's happening there in the future, how mind blown they would be that all the things they thought wouldn't happen actually came to pass. So you can't ever dismiss something, man. If somebody has an idea, no matter how crazy it sounds, man, it could actually end up happening.
The hardest to believe. According to statistics, lightning strikes men 7 more times than women. About 50% of the people in the world have never had a phone conversation. Just 1 drop of liquor can make a scorpion stab itself to death. A shark can detect 1 drop of blood from 100 million drops of water. Astronauts are forbidden from eating beans before going into space. If the sun exploded right now, we would not know for another 8 minutes. Who came first, the chicken or the egg? Check the comment section for the answer. For more.
You were today
Hey, chicken, right?
when you found this shit out. I'm so sorry. Research shows that redheads are actually less sensitive to anesthesia, making them most likely to wake up during surgery. I've never been happier to be blonde. So glad I don't eat pistachios, and here's why. Have you ever eaten one and thinking, that one tasted a little strange? Chances are that's probably because the navel orange worm was inside of it. The chances of worms being inside pistachios are higher than you think. But today is all when you found out how to stay fit during lockdown. And these tough bullshit times. Click the link in my bio right now. It'll take you to an app called Verve. Pop in some basic information. Tell the app exactly what you want to work on, even if it's just love myself. I'll give you a personalized workout plan, diet plan, whatever. Trust me, this shit works. You're welcome. And finally, bathtubs are opposite boats. My brain. Let's make a deal. If you didn't know any of these or any of them shocked you, you have to share it. Elon!
This is the scary truth about iPhones.
Okay.
iPhones actually listen to everything that you say. And it's pretty creepy. This is why if you're ever talking about something with your friends, then suddenly whatever you were talking about comes up on your timeline hours later, well, that's because your iPhone is listening to you. Next, your iPhone tracks you everywhere you go. This is how the iPhone knows how long it takes to get to places from where you are. If you want proof, go to your settings and then hit privacy, then click location services at the top, and it will most likely say on. It's pretty creepy that they can hear and track everything we do, and I mean everything, because who doesn't have their phone on them nowadays?
Okay, I've noticed that. I've noticed that can't be coincidence. You know, sometimes you talk about something and then, you search something up with Google, it just pops up in the timeline. It's like, I was just talking about that and it just popped up out of nowhere, man. That's why, man, turn off the location. And like I said, when that option be popping up, I'll be like, turn off location. Now, nobody need to know where I'm at. Nope. Turn that off. I need my iPhone to be tracking me, man. Should I switch to an Android? Down below. And if you got secrets of an Android or your team iPhone, I don't know. It's impossible nowadays, man, to have complete privacy on the phone. You know that?
Here's some scary facts about our world that you probably didn't want to know. Part 44. There is a type of shark species known as the Greenland shark that can live upwards of 200 years. One, because it is adapted to the cold water in the Arctic Ocean, and the second reason is because it'll eat anything that falls in the water. That means polar bears, penguins, and anything up above. If you were to travel to space in a spaceship, traveling the speed of light, let's say at age 15, when you came back 5 years later, you would be 20, but all of your friends, well, they'd be 65. There is a condition known as the Cotard syndrome, otherwise known as the walking corpse syndrome, in which people suffer from believing that they have never existed and that they have been dead this whole time. If you go to a Catholic priest and tell him that you murdered somebody, they can't say a word because of Catholic law, and they will keep your secret. Please don't get any ideas.
Really?
I want to tell
That's
you
interesting.
an emotional story, a real, authentic one. Hundreds of years ago, in an era when the Middle East was ruled by powerful kingdoms, there lived a mighty king. But despite his strength, he had a weakness: his temper. Every night, the king was haunted by the same nightmare. He would dream of losing all his teeth at once. The moment he wakes up, he rushes to check his jaw and see if his teeth are there. Night after night, the same terrifying vision tormented this king. He was desperate for answers, so he summoned the kingdom's finest dream interpreters, maesters, in this field. The first interpreter arrives, and the king tells him, "O wise one, every night in my sleep I dream of losing all my teeth. What does it mean?" The interpreter hesitated and says, "My lord, this is a bad dream. It means that you will lose all your loved ones." The king's face twisted with anger. "Woe to you! Seize him and lock him away." A second dream interpreter was brought in, and the king repeated his question. The interpreter said, "My lord, I regret to say you will witness the death of all your family members." The king raged once more. "Seize him," he roared. Then the third interpreter was brought in.
Same thing?
"O wise one, I dream every night of something horrible. I dream of losing all my teeth at once. What does this dream mean?" the king asks. The interpreter smiles and spoke with confidence. "Rejoice, my king, for you have been blessed with a long life. You will live the longest from all your family members." The king's eyes brightened, and he rewarded the man with gold. Yet, all three interpreters said the same thing. The same thing. The meaning never changed, only the way it was said. This teaches us a very important lesson. It's not about what you say, but how you say it.
Very important, man.
We just got our first official trailer for Bambi the Reckoning, which of course is a part of the Pooniverse, and or the Twisted Childhood universe, directed by the same people who made Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey, Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2, and Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare. We already kind of knew the design for Bambi, but I'm not gonna lie, I thought there was gonna be more than one. But it looks like we're just gonna be getting one sick and twisted, pretty much undead deer hunting people, breaking into houses as well. In the trailer, you more or less saw the premise of the movie as well, which has to do with one man that's trying to hunt down this undead Bambi, and pretty much using his own family as fodder, which I can't lie, is kind of cold. And as we know, the Pooniverse Monsters Assemble is supposed to be releasing this year, which has to do with a massive mashup of all of the different movies made by the same people that made the Twisted Childhood universe. So of course we're going to be getting characters like Bambi, Winnie the Pooh, Tigger, the Mad Hatter, Piglet, and even Pinocchio. Because if you haven't been following along, we're going to be getting a movie called Pinocchio Unstrung as well. Pretty much has to do with Pinocchio wanting to be a real boy. Just looks terrifying. The only thing they didn't show in this trailer was the fact that there was going to be undead rabbits, which was said to be more or less like Bambi's posse, breaking into houses and unaliving people just in case Bambi couldn't get around him. But I can't lie, an undead zombified deer, this looks pretty good.
Tall Hat Man.
That's crazy that they coming up with that.
That people often say that they see at night in the room, and they say he often resembles Abraham Lincoln. And I have heard hundreds of reports and cases of people seeing this person that they describe looking like Abraham Lincoln with a large top hat. Now, my uncle, when he was a young boy, he said he was in his room one night, and he said he woke up to like a breeze blowing in to his room, which he thought was weird because he always like kept his window closed. When he looks over at his window, he said like the curtains were kind of blowing. He looked back the other way, And then when he looked back at the window again, he said there was a tall man standing next to the window. And he said he looked just like Abraham Lincoln, except this man was actually standing through his desk. And he said this man just stared at him, and he got this big grin on his face. My uncle was like so terrified he threw the covers over his head, and then he woke up the next day, he was gone. And still to this day, he does not know who that was that he saw. This next story comes out of Virginia. There was this woman, she said that she had went to her grandmother's house when she was younger to stay for a couple weeks. And she said when she would go to her grandma's, she didn't have an extra bedroom, so she would have to sleep out on the couch. So that night, she said, you know, she got ready to go to bed. And like, she, you know, went and laid down on the couch.
Yeah.
And she said all of a sudden she was awoken to the sound of her grandma talking in her sleep from her bedroom. And she said she goes to her bedroom and she hears her grandma saying, "He's coming, he's coming. No, 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 he's coming." And she is like, "Grandma, you okay? Grandma, you okay?" Her grandma, you know, was just sleeping. So she's like, you know, she must be having a bad dream or whatever. She goes back to her couch. She lays down. And she said, you know, she finally fell asleep. Well, she has this dream. And she says in this dream, she is outside of the house, which happens to be near the woods. And she starts walking through the woods. And she says as she's walking through the woods, she keeps hearing someone chanting, "He's coming, he's coming."
Her grandma.
And she said it just kept getting louder and louder. And she said all of a sudden she found herself back at her grandma's house. She goes up to the back door, and she said she walked inside to the living room. And she said she could see a man standing next to her on the couch, dressed like Abraham Lincoln, with this big, tall top hat. And she said he was just staring at her. She woke up immediately after this, and she said she looked around the room. She didn't see anything. She said the next day, in the morning, her grandma tells her, you know, "I had the craziest dream." She said, "Well, what's that, Grandma?" She said, "I dreamt that some man was staring at you on the couch in this tall black hat."
Damn, were the dreams connected? Both was dreaming the same dream. That's how much of a coincidence that would have to be to happen. Probably some truth behind that. The Hat Man.
She was beaten to death with a cinder block, and nobody knows who did it. Hello, true crimerers. This is the case of Frances Bemis. Viewer discretion is advised. Frances Bemis had a pretty busy life. She had gone to college in Georgia and also in California. She then became a department store public relations executive and also a fashion consultant. After she retired from that, she found herself in St. Augustine, Florida, and she owned the Maria Sanchez Apartments. Frances was a member of the Humane Society, she was a part of the local art association, and she also was a very vocal person when it came to human rights. And she was an activist for the black community there in Florida. On November 3rd, 1974, the 70-year-old woman would take her nightly walk around St. Augustine, but on this particular occasion, she would not come home. Armed only with a flashlight, she always felt safe in this neighborhood. But the morning after, police were called because they found Frances's body. She was found just by this vacant lot near some just piles of dirt. And it was more than obvious that she had been bludgeoned over the head with a small cinder block. And she was beat several times. And she had been partially set on fire. It's honestly kind of unbelievable that nobody discovered this until the following morning. Allegedly, sometime around 7 p.m. the night that Frances would have been attacked,
There were some people who called the police saying they heard some loud noises and the sounds of someone choking. Police allegedly went out, but they didn't find anything. So who knows if they even went to the right spot. Well, police then find out that, coincidentally, Frances was very good friends with a woman named Athalia Lindsley. Athalia had been found brutally murdered on the steps of her home just a few months prior to Frances's murder. Frances was very vocal about who she thought did it, and then she ends up dead herself. Eventually, Athalia's next-door neighbor was arrested and charged with her murder, and I don't believe they found any connection with him to Frances. Frances was just this sort of sweet, unassuming old lady. She didn't get involved in anything nefarious, and this may have just been an extremely random chance encounter she had, and she was just murdered by a random assailant. But who that person is, they have never found out. This happened in 1974. It's been almost 50 years. Whoever killed her is obviously very old now or possibly dead. Hopefully they're still alive. I don't know if they've tried pulling DNA from certain things or not, but if you have any information, you can call 888-277-8477.
It's crazy, man. 50 years and they still haven't caught him. Justice gonna come one day. It may take, like I said, a day, month, couple years, but it's gonna come. Seekers, if you guys made it with me to the end of the video, you're a true seeker seeking the truth. I really appreciate the support. Make sure you guys comment down below, leave a thumbs up in this video. Also hit that post notification bell so you always get notified when I upload my next videos. You guys are gonna catch you in the next one, man. I'm out. Peace, YouTube.